What's going on, Raider Nation? Welcome to another edition of the Just Win Baby podcast, presented to you by the Silver and Black Lounge. Not much going on day one of Raiders training camp for the rookies. Couple contracts get signed. Outside of that, not much going on, man. We're gonna have a Kirk Cousins. Who should start, man? Kirk Cousins. Fuck it. Fuck it. Shut up.
They didn't have to say much. This is the Raiders. This is one of the most historic franchises in the NFL with a great history that I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of furthering that history. When you say commitment to excellence, okay, and you look at the walls around here, you look at the players on this wall, and there's a history. There's a history of Hall of Fame players here. There's a history of Super Bowls, and that's.
And with all this situation and all this shit I went through, the biggest thing that I took from it is I don't give a what everybody has to say. Truly, I really don't give a.
Play clock down to 1. Williams batted up in the air, and it is picked. Crosby. He has been a beast.
We do believe that this is a game psychologically of intimidation and of fear. I don't mean cowardly fear, but fear.
But the Chargers and all those teams.
No,
to be honest, I don't like any of them. I hate all teams.
The other team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
But the Chargers.
What I call the vertical game. We were going to stretch the field vertically. When we came out of the huddle, we weren't looking for first downs. We didn't want to move the chains. We wanted touchdowns. We wanted the big play, the quick strike. It's number one to say you want to do that. It's number two to say that you have the players to do it, but it's number three to do it. Hard. Try not to make mistakes, but don't worry about mistakes because there's only one thing that counts. Just win.
Your commitment to excellence and your will to win will endure forever. You will not get it.
All right, guys, before we get into the stream, let's give a warm welcome. He's become a respected voice in Raider Nation, bringing great insight, passion, his own unique perspective on everything the silver and black. If you haven't already, be sure to check out his channel after the show. Go show him some love, man. Raider Nation, we want to welcome from the Real Nation, Real Talk Raider Nation, man, Silver and Black Lounge. Warm welcome to 805 Raider. Let's get it, though, man. Appreciate you guys for pulling up. We got 805 in here. Got myself, Nutty Raider Nate, Dirty. What's going on, everybody? What's going on?
What's good?
What's going on, man? Hey, first and foremost, man, I appreciate you with the invite, man. I always do everything I can to tap when you guys go live on Fridays and all that, and for you guys to invite me into this space and be in your guys' world for just a quick minute. I appreciate it, and cheers to you guys. I got my Jack and Coke ready. Let's have a good time.
Cheers, man. Cheers, for sure. Talk some Raiders football, man. Like I was saying in the intro before I had some technical issues, not a lot of stuff coming out of the first couple of days of rookie training camp, guys. Just a couple contracts got signed. Max Crosby getting to the building early as always. But, that's still good things, man. The Raiders all getting there at the same time, practicing and getting that camaraderie early, man. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Before, as always, man, we want to give a huge shout out to you guys that are in the chat showing some love. Jason Marshall became a member of the channel. And shout out to you guys, man. We hit the goal of 20 members. I told you guys once we hit 20 members, we're going to do a jersey giveaway. So the beginning of September, I'm going to do a memberships only live stream. You guys can join the membership program, 99 cents to the end of August. I'll be giving away a jersey. So you guys stick tuned for that, man. You guys want to enter in to win jerseys. And like I said, if we can hold 20 members all the way through the regular season into next year, I'm going to give away 2 tickets to the Raiders versus Chargers in LA next year. So you guys can join up, have fun with some of us, bro, and kick it, man. We appreciate you guys' support as always. Bruce Willis is in here, man. Appreciate you guys for coming through. It's always a pleasure. Rebel Raider, Charm City. Hope you guys are all having a great night, man. Raider Knights in here. Anthony Provincio. Who else we got in here? That's pretty much it, man. We appreciate you guys. You guys work your way in, please, regardless of what stream you're on. Please take us 2 seconds. Go hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, man. And outside of that, 805 Raider, I want to start the stream off by, for those who may not know who you are, where you from, what made you a Raider fan, and what got you into creating Raiders content?
That's a loaded one, man. You better get the drinks ready a little bit. I'm in the Vegas area. I was born and raised in SoCal. In 2014, 2015, moved to North Texas. So I lived in North Texas for about 6 years, and in 2020 made my way to the Vegas area. So been around a little bit. But yeah, currently in the Vegas area. So shout out to if anybody's going to games or what have you, hit me up, because I may not go to every game, but I go to every single tailgate, chop it up with the nation, especially in J-Lot. But been a Raider fan since basically 9 years old. So my entire family, my mom's side, my dad's side, they're all 49er fans. They tried to raise me as a 49er fan. And when I was about 8 years old, when I started playing ball, one of my best friends, so Ronnie Lott and Roger Craig. So I wore number 33 for Roger Craig, because growing up playing football, I was a running back and linebacker. And so Roger Craig was the running back for the 49ers. And then when Ronnie Lott and Roger Craig moved over to the Raiders in 1991, I believe it was, and I was about 9 years old at the time, they were my favorite players. So I was like, shit, like I was torn. And then my dad ended up taking me to a 49er Raider preseason game. And I basically asked my dad, hey, can we go sit with those guys? And my dad basically told me, you'll never sit with those guys. And one of my best friends that was on the team that I played on, he was a diehard Raider fan, and I wasn't allowed to watch Raiders in my house. So I had to walk over a couple blocks to go watch Raider football with him. And when I, till this day, are still best friends. And so that's just kind of when I turned. And so from 9 years old, I became a Raider fan, and went through plenty of years of my family very closely trying to disown me, because I was family reunions and stuff like that. So, and my dad's a big sports guy, played baseball and football in college. And so, he coached me growing up in football and stuff like that. And so him just being a diehard sports fan, I think it broke him a little bit for me not being a 49er fan, but came over to the dark side. Since then, I was a Raider fan and never looked back. But how I started this whole content creating thing was honestly it was random, because in 2020 when I moved to the Vegas area, I was coaching football. Coached football for 23 years. I was coaching in California, started the youth level, moved to high school. And then when I moved to Texas, I continued to coach football in Texas. And then in 2019, 2020, before I moved, I said, you know what, I'm stopping. I got my day job. I've had my day job for a long time. That's paying the bills. It's creating a lifestyle for my family. And I was just basically doing it on the side. And when I came out here, I promised my wife, you know what, I'm done. I'm done coaching. I'm going to spend all my time with the family, let my wife do her thing, stuff like that. And I just kind of started getting that itch. A guy that I used to coach against in high school in Southern California, he actually runs the Nevada youth football leagues out here. He runs the organization. And when he found out that I came out to the Vegas area, he's like, hey, do you remember me? I coached against you in SoCal. I'd love to have you come on and help. And I said, man, I can't. I promised my wife I'm not going to do it, but I kind of got that itch. And that's when I kind of came across some people doing Raider content. I was like, you know what? Let me just jump on and talk. Let me jump on, talk. I was pissed off about the whole Josh Daniels thing. I had a feeling it just wasn't going to work out, so I was kind of pissed off. And then I hated the Tyree Wilson pickup, and there was just so much frustration kind of boiling. I said, you know what, but outside of the itch of just wanting to go back and coach, but I knew I was going to do it. And then me basically so pissed off with what the Raiders were doing, the state of just the organization. I was like, you know what, let me get on here. Let me just talk and just see what happens, and maybe I can kind of get the itch out. And the ball kind of got rolling, and from that day forward, I think at this point with my channel, I just love the fact that I've created just a little bit of a circle of people with Severe and Chris and people that I get to meet up with at the tailgate and stuff, the circle and just the group that I've been able to kind of link up with, I think, man, it's gotten that itch out with coaching. And so I'm cool with the space that I got, man. And again, I just appreciate you allowing me to come on and chill out with y'all for a Friday night. So that's how it's worked.
Oh, brother, it's your world. We're just living in it, brother. We
That
appreciate you
part.
having you here.
Well, I ain't gonna blow your head up that much, man. Thank you for coming on, man. Showing no appreciation, right? My question is, how did you, Severe and Chris, even link up to start the show that you guys have, which is an awesome show, by the way. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. So it was a couple seasons ago. I got hit up by a guy that was watching my channel. He lives out in the Vegas area, and he was the general manager for the Ahern Hotel out here in the Vegas area, kind of north.
That guy, I know who you're talking about.
What up, still, man?
Yeah, and he hit me up and he goes, "Hey, I had Mitchell Renz lined up to do a draft show. He was going to come in town to do a draft show, and he canceled on him last second." Wow. And he watched my show, and he goes, "Hey, do you think you could do a draft party, like a live podcast, stuff like that?" And that was so early in my days of doing this. I've only been on since, the 2023 season. Yeah. And he goes, "Man, could you do it? I'd love for you to do it." I'm like, "Bro, I've never done something like this before. I'm new to all this stuff, so I don't even know how I could hook shit up the whole time." Yeah. And so what I did was I knew Pharaoh, I didn't know him personally, but I watched his show. I watched Severe, and I knew Pharaoh was pretty technical. Like, he knew his shit, just kind of what he did. So I reached out to him knowing that he was in kind of the Bay Area, and I reached out to him and Severe, and I was like, "Hey, I got an opportunity. Would you guys want to do it?" I was like, "I know we don't know each other, but what's your thoughts?" And they came out, and we did a live show, a live podcast at the Ahern, and that's how the three of us linked up. And then after that, me and Severe, we decided to do a show, and then there was one live that Chris from Protect the Shield had, and I was in his chat, and we were kind of going back and forth, and I was like, you know what? Feels like the three of us could do some good things, and we got together, did a show, and kind of that's all she wrote. So
did they put you in that little room with the bar back in the corner?
No. So that room wasn't even available. They had to move us to – there's like a bar that's right next to that little room.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. On the outside of that room, there's a little bar area.
And so we did it there.
Like
and
a full court.
It was cool. We probably had, I don't know, maybe 30 people, 35 people show up. It was cool. It was a good little spot. The second day, and I'm not gonna play around. The second day, dead as shit. Single goddamn person showed up. Like, I'm telling you, like, I want to say one person might have showed up, and because nobody showed up, the bartender just straight up left.
Damn.
The person walked in, saw us doing a podcast for day 2, and looked at us, looked at nobody at the bar, and she's like, "Fuck this," and walked out. So,
damn.
But it was cool though. It was a good experience. Shout out to Pharaoh and Severe for just coming and hooking all this shit up, and we had a good time. So it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, Pharaoh, a cool cat. I've spent time with Pharaoh. We were there for the first draft that Vegas had when we had the draft there. Hung out with him for the weekend. I haven't really had a chance to meet you. I met you, but I ain't met you. Like, we ain't sat down and talked. We kind of was like, I was getting off the elevator for Loons, and you was headed your way up, and I was on my way back to town. But since now I know you in Vegas, I will be there the first game of the year. I have a golf tournament on Saturday, the day before, at Legends Golf Course. Raider Nation Golf Club has a tournament there. So I will be there that week. So I would like to sit down and actually get a drink with you or something. You know what I mean? Shoot the breeze for a couple minutes, break some bread or something like that, because I feel like you cool. You know what I mean? I watch your shows. I don't comment a lot, but I do watch your shows, and I feel like you're very knowledgeable. I don't agree with everything you say. I will be a lie if I came on here and said I did, but at least I know it's coming from a place of knowledge versus a place of insanity.
Well, Jack,
I appreciate that. 100%. Hit me up when you come into town because we'll link up for sure. I'm about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, depending on traffic from the strip. So I run on over there and I'll link up with anybody in town. So I'm game, man. Sure.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. All right, guys. So let's get into some football talk. Jermod McCoy and Fernando Mendoza get their contracts. Entire draft class is now under contract. There will not be any dysfunction or bullshit drama going into. A lot of people were worried of last time the Raiders had the number 1 overall pick and spent on the quarterback. There was some drama there beginning with Jamarcus Russell's contract, and he didn't get in for a while there, and for those last couple of weeks, Raider Nation was starting to get a little bit concerned, not really thinking it was going to be another Jamarcus Russell situation, but concerned nonetheless. So with all that being said, you guys, what's your guys' thoughts on, Fernando Mendoza actually getting all of his guaranteed money? It is 4 years, 57.5, and the Raiders actually breaking tradition, because if you guys aren't aware what the Raiders typically do with these signing bonuses is they pay them in a percentage based. So they give them like 33% for the first 5 or whatever games, 33 for the next 6 games, and then a percentile, right? Well, obviously Fernando Mendoza got all up front, so it's something that typically the Raiders don't do. You guys have any thoughts on that? We'll start with 805.
Real quick, how many other teams pay out their guaranteed money in installments like this?
I don't think there's very many. I don't, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I would say at least. I would say if you ask me, Nate, I will probably venture to say at least 10.
Yeah, I don't know.
At least 10.
I don't know.
And eventually it's going to be the whole NFL. I mean, we set standards.
What up, G City Raider?
So, we set that blueprint. So it may not be a whole lot right now. I think it's about 10 teams that do that right now, but eventually it will be the whole NFL.
I wonder if it'll end up being the whole NFL because of
Turkey.
When you have these kids, I think it was I saw some report that Carson Beck's contract that he signed is actually less than what he made his last year at Miami.
What up, Aaron?
So I just think that with this whole NIL stuff, I think that the NFL, you never know, they might have to somewhat entice these players to possibly come out earlier, not sit for another or stay in college for another year. Maybe you end up giving them their entire guaranteed, or these players are constantly just going to stay back in college and start that process. So I don't know if that will have an influence on it. I have no clue.
I don't think that's going to happen, honestly, because if you look at how college is starting to operate now, they're not granting extensions for people to play. They're not. You're either good enough to go to the next level or you're not. That's just what it is. And I think they're going to try and cap
it is
the NIL too. I think they're going to try and put a cap on the NIL. And I think that will be probably the most responsible thing, you know what I mean, to do, is to put a cap on what you can pay these players. I want you to get them ready. Yeah. But I don't want you to overpay them so that when they get to the NFL, they're going to be asking for more money that they don't deserve yet. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like Mendoza is earned the money that he's getting, that his contract is at. I don't think he deserves it yet. Will he in time? Probably, hopefully. That's what we all hope. But let's just be honest. Like, when you start a new job, do you start at the top of the pay? You know what I mean? You don't start at the top. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta at least do 6 months to get a raise. Maybe in the middle, but nobody starts at the top unless they get in top tier like jobs, like CEOs and things of that nature. I don't find a quarterback to be a CEO. I find him to be a manager.
Well, with Fernando Mendoza signing it at the 11th hour.
Yeah, right.
Right. I think what sucks is it was just kind of a Raider thing. You basically had to have just a little bit of drama leading up to it as to whether or not he was going to sign and be ready and be there day one of training camp. But I guess for me, good. It's great he signed. I'm glad he signed. Man, just get on the field, start learning, start developing, do your thing. But the Raiders had to have known that you picked him number 1 overall. So just sign him. I don't know why that there was this, back and forth or what have you. Yeah, I get it. You got to get the verbiage right, and the contracts can get pretty detailed. The only thing is, I thought there was a chance that Fernando Mendoza was like, hey, I want that guaranteed because it sounds like he's a pretty talented kid and smart kid when it comes to finances. And so if you drafted him number 1 overall, there's a damn good chance you're
Got the
going to
new members.
his guaranteed money anyway. So just do it, cut the drama, and let's just get him on the field. But they got it done, but the Raiders had to kind of string us out just a little bit.
Nah, man, it ain't never a dull moment being a Raider fan, 805. Like you said, at the 11th hour is crazy, bro. Because I had literally just said, like, the night before they had signed him, I'm like, bro, if the Raiders don't find a way to get this done, overnight, you know what I'm saying? Or, like, first thing in the morning, it's just not going to look good for business because, Spy Tech, I don't know if it was real, how much truth there was behind this, but a lot of people were saying, allegedly, that the reason why Teron Johnson wasn't reporting is because Spy Tech was holding out on paying him too. So it didn't look good for business. Anyways, go ahead, Nutty Raider Nate. What's your thoughts on this shit, bro?
No, yeah, I asked about how many other teams do that installment payments shit. It just seems real old school to me. I mean, especially with the first overall pick, I could see like the 6th overall or the 13th overall or the past couple. Yeah, it's understandable. It's whatever. But the first overall pick, and he's supposed to be your future quarterback. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm kind of contradicting myself because the whole time Mendoza was talking about I got to earn my position here, and I need to earn my spot with the guys, and this, and then on the other side, he's like, but I'm not gonna. He didn't really say that, but it felt like he was ready to hold out for the offseason or for the training camp thing, and like you said, like the 11th hour, he signed last minute, so it worked itself out, thankfully. And we didn't have a debacle. I was hoping he'd fire his agent if it went longer than it needed to, but we took care of business and
what up, Tanner Jack?
And let's go.
I feel like it's a smart thing, though. You know what I mean, Nate? I feel like it's a smart way to approach Vegas football. Protect your player. Don't give him too much that he can go out and do stupid stuff with it. You know what I mean? You give him just enough to live a little bit more comfortable than most people in the city, right? But not too comfortable. You don't want him spending ridiculous amounts of money. He's not saying that's what Fernando Mendoza would do. I'm not saying that by any means, but it's a trend. If I treat the starting number 1 quarterback, number 1 draft pick, if I treat him this way, nobody behind him can come and say anything different. I did the same deal I'm doing for you that I did for my number 1 overall draft pick. I'm not treating anybody any different. What I'm doing is I'm protecting my investment. I'm investing in you, and I'm protecting you by not giving you too much money right now. Give you just enough to find you a place to stay, get you a transportation back and forth to practice and to the game, which technically you really don't need because they got cars, they got rookie car service. You know what I mean? They got Ubers and Lyfts that the team will pay for. So you don't technically need a car, but you do need a place to stay. You know what I mean? You might need an apartment, a little townhouse, a little something, right? Everybody got to have clothes. You know what I mean? Everybody got to have food, although you can eat at the facility for free all day long until the facility closes, right? You can even pack you up some and take you something to home. You know what I mean? So it ain't like you going to ever starve. There's money and there's food, right? So you give them just enough to learn how to, navigate the NFL. And then once they learn how to navigate the NFL, then you start giving them a little bit more. You know what I mean? So I'm perfectly fine with shelling out small sums of cash. You know what I mean? I don't feel like 90% of these players don't deserve the contract that they got. They haven't proven it. They've gotten their contracts and done nothing, right? So you can thank the Raiders for this cap that rookies even have in the first place, all because of Jamarcus Russell, that $50 million bust. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I don't technically have an issue with it. What I have an issue with, as I, and I don't know if 805 heard it on our last show, I have an issue with the agents. The agents are the ones that are making these deals bigger than they need to be, because they got to get their percentage, and they want their final pay to be just a little bit higher, so that maybe they could buy this new Lamborghini or Ferrari, or pay some alimony, or catch up on child support, or whatever it is they doing. But they get paid based off what the number is for the athlete. They get that percentage. So me, really, truthfully, I got more of an issue with the agents than I do the players.
I'm with you with the agents, but it's the Players Association at the same time. But when you put those two together, you got that association that's all about the players, and so they're going to do what's in the best interest of the players. But then you also have the agents. The agents are obviously going to just be pushing for money. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all about the players getting their money. I'm okay with players getting their money as long as it's like, I think obviously what Matthew Stafford and Jamarcus Russell and Sam Bradford, those guys got when they were, just entering in the NFL is wild. That's crazy as shit that you could literally cripple an organization for the next 15 years if you suck. So I'm okay with some of the rookies coming in and getting a decent amount of money, but it's going to be a battle either way. It's going to be a fight, because you have the Players Association and you have the agents, and when you combine those two and they're just going to fight like crazy to make sure they get their money, it's going to be a little bit of a battle. I do think that just a rookie pay scale is probably one of the best things to happen for organizations. It's just that we're looking at Fernando Mendoza, number 1 overall, and he's getting banked. He's getting paid. I think the difference between a number 1 overall and, let's say, like the 25th overall, there's a pretty vast difference between those contracts.
About $4 to $5 million.
So I think it's, I don't know. I think it's a lot. I don't know the exact number, but
I think it's like $4 or $5 million. It's a $4 or $5 million drop off. You know what I mean?
That's per year.
Top 10, I think it's like from number 1 to number 10 is a $2 million difference.
Is that per year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You know what I mean? So it's like a $2 million difference between number 1 and number 10 overall. So you would assume number 24 will have to be somewhere down the line, 4 or 5 million, maybe $6-7 million difference.
Oh, you said it, bro. You said the magic number, dude.
I ain't say no magic numbers, brother.
Yeah, so
I ain't said nothing. I ain't said nothing. Nothing.
Hey, I want to give a huge shout out to Bruce Willis real quick, man, with the 499 super chat. Said 805 Raider, welcome over to the family, man. P.S. This is my spot, nation. Mine. And this spot. So on my live stream, we have something called a stream boss, and he's been holding down the stream boss spot, and people have been trying to knock him off. So he's getting his health bar back up there, man. But outside of that, man, he wants to give a huge shout out to 805 for joining the show, man. So shout out to Bruce Willis, man. And for Shelly, man, 805 is one of the best at what he does on here. Like I said in the beginning, man, him and Chris and Severe, they do great work over there, bro. And ever since he joined, YouTube, I've definitely been tapped in with him. And like I said, me and Chris go way back. And once I seen Chris, anytime I see Chris linked up with people, bro, I know they good people and they do good work, bro. Because Chris does great work himself. So shout out to 805 for sure.
Trying to follow your lead, big dog. That's all we're trying to do.
Man, you guys are fucking paving the way, man, for a lot of other content creators as well, my friends. It's all just a team effort, bro. At the end of the day, gang, I came onto YouTube because I felt like, because when I came to YouTube in 2015, there wasn't too many content creators, bro. There was Mikey Raider Critique, the Black and Silver Way. I think there was Raiders _ 1995, a couple of us, bro. And I wanted to bring Oakland tailgates and what it was like to be a season ticket holder to Oakland to YouTube, bro. And that's what I came here to do. And then at the end of the day, I got tired of, the Raiders getting shit on by the mainstream media who knew nothing about the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to come on here. And if anybody's going to shit on them or hype them up, bro, I want, people who actually know the team. And that's us, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody knows the Raiders like we do. So appreciate you guys, man. So I want to get into, we got a little bit of video here from training camp. It's nothing much. It's pretty much just a bunch of walkthroughs, a couple little clips right here from Instagram. And then I got another clip as Fernando Mendoza was he had an interview today with Paul Gutierrez. So this is a little bit of film that they showed from training camp. Max Crosby pretty much out there. It looks like his knee's doing good. You feel me? That's a positive. He's out there jumping around on his knee. So we need that because, you know, if our defense is going to have any chance, bro, it's going to be because of him. You know what I'm saying? So they have that clip. You know what I'm saying? They got, I'm not sure, is that Mike Washington? Where's
37? It looks like it.
Is that Himby? What is that? I forget who wears 37. Chat. Let me know if I forget, bro. They got Fernando Mendoza. A couple of shots of Fernando Mendoza throwing the ball around. Nice tight spirals, bro. Like to see that. No wobbly ducks out there. They got
I like seeing the receiver look the ball in. That's always nice.
What up, game? Recognized game. Fernando Mendoza. Some more clips of Fernando Mendoza. Got some clips of who's that? That's that undrafted quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? I don't even know. I don't even recognize that number. Then they got one of the tight ends. Who's that? Ian Thomas? Or is that Runyon?
No, is that 30 or is that 80?
That's 80, I think. Is that Runyon? One of them, bro. Shout out to you guys in the chat, you know. And then, so before we get into the next topic, I have that. And then I have the little interview from Fernando Mendoza I want to go over real quick. And there was only one thing that I wanted to get from this because I wanted to ask 805 Raider the same question I ask everybody. So we'll get to the
pad level.
805. So
I like the pad level in there.
That's Washington.
Yeah,
okay.
30.
That was Washington.
All right, guys. So Fernando Mendoza was asked about the quarterback room and what he expects out of the quarterback room, because right after this, I want to ask 805 a question. So it's going to be pretty much relating to this right here. That's on mute.
Sources of information, whether it be the coaches, my teammates, especially in the quarterback room. It's basically all the palm of my hand, and I just need to take advantage of it.
Would you describe how that's going to look going into training camp, the competition, so to speak, amongst all of you?
Yeah, I think that Kirk, Aiden, Jacob, everybody in the quarterback room is a top-tier quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's going to be competing with each other, not competing against each other. Competing with each other, pushing each other to be the best quarterback we can possibly be for the Las Vegas Raiders and to enable to then win as many games as possible, rather than against, withholding information,
right,
wishing maybe not the best intent on somebody. It's more and wishing the best for, hey, I saw this, hey, I saw that, competing with each other and growing with each other.
Gotcha.
So before I get into the question, I was going to ask 805, what's your guys' take on that? On what he said right there with the quarterback room, everybody just kind of helping each other instead of trying to plot against each other. We'll start with 805.
I have no clue what type of mentor or how Kirk Cousins is going to help Fernando Mendoza. I do think that Kirk Cousins, I think he's a genuine enough guy that he's probably going to not be, like the story that you have from what's his face? The kid from Texas A&M, Johnny Manziel. The story that he had with Brian Hoyer, where Brian Hoyer was basically like, "Screw you, young cat! Like this is my job. I ain't helping you for nothing." I think just with Kirk Cousins, he's a genuinely probably nice enough guy where he's not going to intentionally screw Fernando Mendoza over. I just don't know how much he's going to help him take his job, because it's not like Kirk Cousins is 30 years old or 28 years old. If you go back and you watch him last year with the Falcons, he's a smart enough quarterback. I think he's capable enough to play the position without question still, and he's going to give us a chance to, possibly be competitive. But he's lost velocity in that arm. And if the one thing that if it's going to kill you as a quarterback, if you lose velocity in that arm, a lot of things change for you, and it's hard to adapt with your timing. If you think you can get the ball there and it's late, the last thing you need to be as a quarterback is late to your receiver. That's going to kill you in the NFL. So, I think in the quarterback room, Fernando Mendoza better just find a space. And at the same time, he better do everything he can to learn from Kirk Cousins and just try to understand what the NFL is like. And if he can learn from Kirk Cousins, maybe it's not necessarily Kirk Cousins having to teach him, but it's up to Mendoza to absorb the things that Kirk Cousins does well, whether it is the way he processes plays and defenses, whether it's the way that he studies or the way that he's able to kind of digest the nuances of the NFL. If he does that, I think the entire quarterback room can grow together and evolve. I just have no clue how much Kirk Cousins is going to be like, yeah, young buck, like I'm going to teach you everything I got for you to just take my job by week 8. This is Kirk Cousins' probably last chance to win a Super Bowl if he ever has a chance. And so, we'll see. We'll see kind of how it plays out and just how buddy Kirk Cousins is going to be to set somebody up to take his job.
Nah, and you make a great point there too, bro. Because I know a lot of quarterbacks, bro. They have that same mindset, bro. When a young guy comes in, and they really want to teach him and give him the tricks of the trade, knowing they probably gonna take his spot. And you make a great point as well. With I don't know how many more stops Kirk Cousins got left. You know what I'm saying? This is probably going to be his last stop. It's probably going to be his best opportunity. Well, I won't say his last stop. It's probably his last starting stop. And he's going to have his best opportunity with, Clint Kubiak, and the Raiders got a all-star tight end and Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. It's just if the offensive line can protect him, it's going to be his best shot. So that being said, what was your thoughts on that? What Fernando had to say, Dirty?
I never change, bro. I expect for you to say all the right things. How much of it is true? I don't know. You know what I mean? Would you prep somebody to take your job? I mean, I'm not. You know what I mean? I'll prep you to work alongside of me, but I'm not going to prep you to take my job. But at the same time, if you can't cut it, you can't cut it. That's just the reality of the situation. And, I think the only thing that Mendoza cannot do, that Kirk Cousins can do right now, well, two things. I think Mendoza throws a better ball. And other than that, he can't play under center. I think Kirk Cousins can play under center. It's just the difference that's the difference between the two. Aside from the arm, I think Mendoza does have a better arm than Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is smarter because he's been in the league longer. But that's not to say that Mendoza can't process and catch up quickly. But I expect you to say all the right things. I don't expect you to come in here and say, "Oh man, he ain't doing shit for me." You got to remember, I'm not being racist. He's not a diva black quarterback. He's not going to do that. Like the quarterback down in Atlanta, I ain't getting no help from Kirk Cousins. Okay. The world need to know that. Does everybody need to know you ain't getting no help from Kirk Cousins? We can see you ain't getting no help. We can see that even if you had a different quarterback from Kirk Cousins, you still ain't getting what you supposed to get. Why you think they brought in a quarterback that's just as bad as you to go up against you for the starting position? Tua and him are the same damn quarterback. So
Tua and who? Kirk?
No, the dude that's in Atlanta that everybody wanted that I didn't. Penix.
Yeah.
So glad we never got him, bro. I felt like that was a bullet dodged. I did not want him. But him and Tua,
he probably wouldn't have got Brock Bowers, dog. I ain't gonna lie.
Athletically, they're the same quarterback. He don't take as many concussions as Tua, but athletically, they're the same quarterback.
The whole narrative of Kirk Cousins not helping Michael Penix, what have you, I just think the Falcons situation between this situation is completely different. Because I truly do think Kirk Cousins went in there with the intention of playing out his contract and trying to take the Falcons to a Super Bowl. You hear the stories.
They have a good squad.
It was a good squad, but at the same time, his wife is originally from Georgia.
Raider Shep.
Is to Georgia. So I think that, and I think Kirk Cousins knew at the same time, like I'm at the tail end of my career, right? And so you go there with a Bijan Robinson, you go over there with a Kyle Pitts, with the Drake London. I think he went over there with
A good offensive line.
To
a good play caller.
Start for a few years and try to get that team to a Super Bowl, and then he just gets absolutely blindsided by them getting Michael Penix. And I bet you he was pissed. I'd be pissed if I was maybe told something different. But when he comes here, I think he was probably pretty clear we're drafting Fernando Mendoza. So I think he understands the situation, and at the end of the day, he accepted it. So whatever, his future is his future. You do you, but maybe he is more willing to maybe help out Fernando, knowing that Fernando is the future, and maybe Kirk Cousins got a year to prove himself. But I don't even know how that's going to work out, but we'll see.
And go ahead, Nate. Sorry, my bad, bro.
It's already a friendly relationship with their little stepbrother skits, and
I could not stand
it. You know what I mean? So they're buddy already as far as the optics look right now. You like them to push each other. Fernando's the future, and Cousins he's holding on for dear life. It'll be interesting. I think it really just depends on this offensive line and how fast they can get their shit together, and we will see.
What up, Anthony Provincia? What up, brother? So, like I said, I was going to ask you this question, 805, because Clint Kubiak had said that, everything has to be earned, right? He was making the players from the beginning have to earn the shield. You know what I'm saying? So everything, according to what he said, the players have to earn it, right? But from what we're seeing is that it seems like Kirk Cousins is just being handed the quarterback job. And I get it. I get the overall narrative of, Tom Brady and John Spytek. They don't believe in starting a rookie quarterback. But the question I ask you is if Fernando Mendoza goes out there and he looks significantly better in training camp and in preseason, even though preseasons don't matter, and probably more importantly, that scrimmage game against Houston, do you guys still trot out Kirk Cousins, or do you trot out Fernando Mendoza?
If Fernando Mendoza comes out preseason and balls, I still think this is where it's really difficult, because there's as much as I'm an advocate of sitting a quarterback, allowing him to develop and learn for however long it takes. I think the Raiders, as much as, again, I'll preface this for anybody that hasn't known up to this point, I did not want to draft Fernando Mendoza. I didn't. I wanted to trade back.
Thank you.
Broke down his game film to try to just kind of show many examples of the concerns that I have of Fernando Mendoza. But whether Fernando Mendoza or not, I'm all about allowing a quarterback to digest the NFL. There are so many things and differences between the college game and the NFL that it's extremely hard for a quarterback, which is probably one of the hardest positions or hardest things to do in sports in general.
Quarterback
in the NFL and hitting and being a good batter in baseball, hitting against some of the best pitchers in baseball is probably some of the hardest things to do in sports, period. I'm an advocate of sitting the quarterback and allowing him to develop. Right. But at the same time, there's no right or wrong answer. You can point to examples where a quarterback started day one. Look, I wanted Bo Nix that year. Didn't happen, and he started day one, and he's finding some success, right? But then you also have examples of a Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers, where they sat a few seasons, and then they found success. So there's no right or wrong answer. But I just want the quarterback to be developed right. We're not in the coaches' rooms. We're not in the film rooms. We're not in the position rooms. And so I have no clue how well Fernando Mendoza is developing, even if he does do well in the preseason. Because if he does well in the preseason, then you got to take a look at, are we playing most of our starters, or the other team's playing third stringers? You got to understand what the competition really is. But I want to see him play a lot of preseason, because one of my biggest knocks on Fernando Mendoza is I don't think he's got very good pocket presence. And I think that's the one thing that scares me about him, because if you don't have good pocket presence in college, you don't get very many opportunities in the NFL to try to understand the speed of the NFL,
Right,
what is, and when live bullets are coming at you. You know, you only have roughly around 25 padded practices throughout an entire season. And even with padded practices, you got that red jersey on where you're not getting hit. So you're feeling comfortable back there, even when the entire team's going 110%, even in practice. And so in preseason, we're gonna have to get an idea, okay, how are you adapting to the speed of the NFL with that pass rush, and still in a split second dissecting and understanding the defense on the back end, the coverage that they're moving to. Is it man? Is it zone? Are they moving safeties around? Like, there's so much that he's gonna have to process. So even if he looks good or okay in preseason, doesn't necessarily mean that he's looking great in practice, and maybe they're going to want to still rock out with Kirk Cousins. So it's hard for me to say, even if he looks good in preseason, should he start day one? Because I'm not in the coach's room. I'm not in the position room. It would just be really hard not to start him, I think, as a fan, as an outsider looking in, given the fact that he's the number 1 overall pick. And I think a lot of people kind of have that anticipation and want to see him. So I'm not going to be a one that says, oh, he looked good in preseason, man, you better start him right away. So that's just
I think our biggest clue will be how the other players feel about him, how his receivers are.
Shout out to 45 people. Hit the like button, guys.
Who they'd rather catch the ball from. You know, they'll kind of give hints and who they think should be the starter. So if we listen, we'll get a feel for it. We most Raider fans, we know what's going on, right? Shoot.
Well, I mean, no, but you want your rookies to get battle tested early, you know. I'm kind of on the same wavelength. Like, bro, I want to see what he goes out there and what he can do. I mean, if you go out there against third stringers and you stink up the joint, you really think I'm gonna have faith in you being a starter? No, I'm not. So I'd rather you go out there, get your bearings step by step. You know what I mean? Week 1, play against third stringers. Week 2, play against second stringers. And then that final week, you know what I mean? That last week, you go ahead, you play the first quarter. You start the first quarter. Let's see what you're all about. If you progress that way. But I personally feel like I would like to see him start, you know what I mean, third string, get week, preseason 1. You know what I mean? Come out there towards the third, fourth quarter. You know what I mean? Get your feet under you. I would expect to see Kirk Cousins in the first quarter, and then I would expect to see AOC in the second. You know what I mean? And just kind of go from there. Like, I don't really want to see him be thrown to the fire. But I do want to see him, like, my whole thing is everybody kept saying he's this and he's that, he's this and he's that. Well, I want to see it. I want to feel like my first round pick wasn't wasted again. So I'm tired of wasting first round picks. That's point blank.
I'm gonna go out. I'm agree with what 805 said. Like I wanted, like, as much as I didn't want Fernando, like I kind of just got on board with it being a Raider fan because I felt like it just wasn't. There's no way it wasn't gonna happen. But no, I've said this before. What really concerns me, it's that if you draft a quarterback number 1 overall, aren't you expecting him to be able to outperform how old is Kirk Cousins? Like 34, 36. And if he can't outperform this veteran quarterback at the end of his rope, what makes you think he's worth a number 1 overall pick? That's the argument I'm trying to make. And I think Fernando Mendoza has potential to be a good quarterback. We have to see how it goes. But the argument I'm making is that it seems like he's not that good because I don't know. It's weird to me. The whole optics of it is just weird as hell. So
he's just not ready. He doesn't. The system's a little complicated. I feel like the footwork's different. The timing's going to be different. The speed's going to be different. Yeah.
I think that what's really difficult is there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to trade back. And we're talking about a prospect other than Fernando Mendoza that is very different from other quarterbacks that we've seen in the past, right? So I will not be surprised if Fernando Mendoza doesn't see the field, barring any injury to Kirk Cousins or whatever. I would not be surprised if the plan is truly, I know Clint Kubiak and even Tom Brady has said it, where their plan is to sit Fernando, right? They don't want to play the rookie quarterback. But Dirty, I agree, where literally the best experience Fernando Mendoza is in the game, because you have to understand how to orchestrate and perform at a high level when the bullets are live, when the defense is coming at you. And when you practice and you have that red jersey on, you can drop back without any fear of a 6'6", 270-pound DN coming to take your head off.
Yeah, they're not going to touch you.
Until you understand that and feel that at the NFL level, you're not going to be able to process it properly. And so I that's why there is a very good argument to say he's got to start day one and kind of get those growing pains out. I get that. But Fernando Mendoza is not the same type of prospect, let's say, like Caleb Williams was. Caleb Williams showed in his game that he understood defenses, that he understood how to work outside of a pocket, outside of structure. He understood how to extend plays in a way that he could beat you through his arm with NFL concepts, where Fernando Mendoza didn't show that. If you go back and when he played against some of the best defenses in college football, his numbers were okay at best. If you go back and watch him against Ohio State, 188 yards, 1 interception. If you go back and look at the Miami game, 220 yards and 0 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. But he had the great run. That's basically what he is. And so if you go back and you watch his game, 90% of his throws is about 10% of what he's going to do in the NFL. So what is the other, what does the other 10% look like that's actually NFL caliber throws, NFL style throws, where he's got to work the middle of the field, where he's got to hit tiered concepts? It's not great. And so, and you go back and look at the second half of the Miami game. He basically came out of halftime and got sacked. Back-to-back dropbacks. Why? Because he just doesn't if the answer isn't there, he doesn't process it well. And he just takes sacks. Or he just drops his eyes way too early and takes off to run, and that's not going to work in the NFL. And so when you take different, like, number one prospects or top-end quarterbacks, the problem is Fernando Mendoza is not a type of guy that's going to all of a sudden just kill you with his arm through the air with NFL-style concepts. If it's not an RPO or back shoulder fade or go ball, it's not great. And so – and there's not a whole lot to evaluate because it's literally like 10% of his throws that you can take a look at. So I think it's going to take him a long time.
Yeah, he's a system quarterback for sure.
100%. Because go ahead, Ben.
Adding, I think there's a couple things that the Raiders looked at when getting Mendoza. If the Raiders probably didn't have Clint Kubiak or a guy that's quarterback whisperer, right? A guy that can bring the best out of a quarterback and coach up quarterbacks. Probably they don't go that route. I don't know. But the one thing I do like with Fernando Mendoza, and I've heard that argument before, 805. Obviously, you guys pay attention, bro. I didn't really pay too much attention to him. And the majority of his snaps are like back shoulder throws and RPOs. But the one thing I like about the kid, bro, is that at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer of, like, you don't have to have the best stats as a quarterback as long as you win the game. I'm a firm believer of the will to win, you know what I'm saying? Like the Raider way, right? The will to win. And I feel like he has that, like he don't never quit. He'll get, like, in that Miami game where he got smacked in the mouth. Dude, they were trying to kill Fernando that entire game, bro. And he may have not played his best game, bro. But when all the cards were on the table, you feel me? He put the team on his back and carried them, bro. He carried them, bro. Like Indiana had never done. I mean, Indiana was a laughingstock college program, bro. They've been that way for a long time,
bro.
And they turned he did something that damn near no quarterback in college ever did, bro. Went undefeated and won a national title. Like, I get it.
Did he take the field? Did he take the field by himself?
Flaws.
Did he take the field by himself?
No, that's why I'm saying. That's why it's the ultimate team game. That's why I say his stats don't tell the whole story about the kid, bro. You feel me? Like, of course he's not perfect. A lot of quarterbacks aren't perfect. He's probably not the consensus #1 overall pick in a lot of other drafts with better quarterbacks. No, but the Raiders are making it easy for him. He's coming into a quarterback-friendly system. Like everybody's like, he plays in quarterback-friendly systems in Indiana. Dude, the Raiders set him up in the most comfortable position, bro. The only thing he don't have is an X receiver, bro. He has a hell of a play caller, a hell of a quarterback coach that's a monster. The offensive line coach has won multiple Super Bowls. Like, there's so many positives that they've set him up for success. And yes, I think it's going to take some time, but the Raiders definitely did their part, I think, to try to set him up for success, bro. And I like the qualities that he brings.
I think they're trying to set him up for success.
See how he gets developed. Development.
I think they're working their way into setting him up for success. I can't say they have just yet. I mean, yes, he has a nice running back that he can lean on. He has a nice tight end he can lean on. You know what I mean? O-line is still something to be desired, even though, you know, you got the center up there. You know what I mean? They got you a all-class World Pro Hall of Fame center. You know, there's no denying that. I mean, but like, if we're being honest, like, the rest of the line is still kind of oopsie daisy. You know what I mean? We still don't know where or how players are going to land or where they're going to play. You know, so like, there's still so many questions to be answered. You know what I mean? Because we're asking all of them every time a Raider content creator does a podcast. He's asking a question about this team. We're still searching for some of these answers, right? Like, these are great questions to be asked right now. As for, I wish people would stop saying, like, oh, Indiana when it's just Mendoza when they talk about Indiana. Indiana was a great team. Why? It was stacked full of players that were hungry. This was their last opportunity to make it on anybody's NFL draft board. We're talking about players who were in their 5th years, you know what I mean, 6 years. Some of these players is 23, 24 years old. You know what I mean? Should have been in the NFL years ago, but all these red-shirted years that have accumulated that they missed with injuries and not being eligible or getting pushed down getting pushed down. So they had these years later, you know what I mean? But they're playing with a hunger that none of these other younger kids are playing with.
Shout out to 40 people.
For a majority of that team,
go subscribe.
80% of that team, this was their last opportunity at making anybody's draft board or free agency list. This was their last. So they were playing with a much more severe hunger, and with a more of a knowledge of college football, and they're entering grown man strength at 24 versus 18. It's a big difference. So, like, I credit that whole team for the season they had, not Fernando Mendoza. Because in all honesty, that defense kept them in 90% of their games, not their offense.
So, Jody, I'm going to add to that, because I think a lot of people, like, I think they forget Indiana went to the college football playoffs the year before Fernando got there with Curtis Work. And there was multiple players that returned that next year to play with Fernando Mendoza. Omar Cooper was there prior to Fernando Mendoza, and then that was his second year at Indiana. Elijah Surratt was a returner that second year. And then they brought in that center from Notre Dame and shored up that offensive line. Indiana was probably the most complete team we've ever seen in college football, if you just look at what everything ranked. And I'm from Southern California. I went through the days of Matt Leinart and Carson. You know, Carson Palmer was good. He just had injuries. But when you look at some of the best teams you've ever seen in college football, and those quarterbacks just did not pan out, when everybody thought that quarterback was the guy, that quarterback is going to be the next, Hall of Famer or what have you, and it just didn't work out. And I grew up with Matt Leinart's, the Reggie Bushes, and all those, and I had to sit there and go, man, why didn't that work out? And so honestly, since then, I've been kind of just doing my homework, trying to figure out, okay, what's the difference between college and pros, and why does that not work out? And why are GMs and head coaches, and how are they just missing it, right? Some of it is just the way they develop. But at the end of the day, if you look at Indiana had the fourth best rushing team. They were the fourth best rushing team in college football. They had the second best defense in college football. They had the runner-up to the best offensive line in college football. They had the third least amount of committed turnovers, but they also committed, I want to say they turned over the ball the most. That defense had the sixth most turnovers in college football. They had the third least penalties in college football, and at the 60th strength of schedule. I mean, every portion of that team was literally top 5 in
and an easy schedule
with the 60th ranked schedule. And then you have Fernando Mendoza, most touchdowns. I will give him that. Not taking that away. Had the most touchdowns. But if you look at Fernando Mendoza, he was 60th in yards passing. He was like 40th in attempts. I mean, he didn't have to do a whole lot. Through the first 6 games of that season, first 6 or 7 games, that rushing team, that team rushed for over 170 yards on average per game. Like that team ran through the ground. That was it.
3 running backs.
I mean, they leaned on the run game all year long. And I think through the first 6-7 games, Curt Cignetti understood exactly what this team was. They were a damn good defense, and they were a damn good rushing team. And they leaned on it for the rest of the season. Because if you go back and you look at just some of the games where people are like, oh, you had adversity. The Penn State game, without question, great last-minute drive. Right? Great drive. We broke that down on my channel, and we broke down that entire drive. It was a very good drive. There are some things that I didn't like, but at the same time, great drive. But again, that's a Penn State defense that was like ranked 125th or 130th in college football. Outside of that, he trailed against Ohio State. So he never really faced too much adversity whatsoever. And when he did, let's say Iowa, when they played Iowa State, they were tied going into basically that final drive, and he ran a quick slant on the 50-yard line, and they took off, right? So it was a quick slant that he won, but they weren't even behind. They were tied at that point, so the pressure really wasn't on him. And then Ohio State, he ended up they were trailing in the second quarter, but people got to remember, Ohio State going that game was averaging 33 points a game, and that defense held Ohio State to 10 points. So that means that they just gave Fernando Mendoza multiple tries over and over and over and over again, and that equated to 170, 180 yards and an interception. And so it's not saying he's a great game. You can call him a great game manager if you want to give him that. But I also think that you're going to have to literally make sure the pieces are perfect around him in order for him to be able to kind of find his success a little bit. Because there were touchdowns. He threw the most touchdowns, and I'll give him credit for that. And he was very good in the red zone. I think there's reasons why he was good in the red zone, but I'm not getting into that detail. But that team was so damn good as a whole. It made Fernando Mendoza's job so easy when it came to college football. So is that – and the question is that worth number one overall? That's what I question.
Yeah, we got the football minds in the building to make that decision now. So hopefully they get it right this time.
Yeah, you're telling me we have to have the number one line, the number one quarterback, the number one wide receiver group, fuck, bro. Well,
no. We don't have to have the number one, but they do need look. Regardless of any quarterback, they still need to be top 10. Even if whatever quarterback it is.
No, I meant that more of a depressing comment. I wasn't trying to
no.
Like, fuck, bro, you're telling me he's that bad? Like, fuck, bro. Like,
no. Don't try to make it a depressing comment. It's real conversation. It's real conversation.
I'm not a fan.
You don't have to be
Tech anyway.
I'm not saying you got to be the greatest of great, but what you do got to go out there and do. The one thing you got to do, go out there and do, is you got to give maximum effort, bro. And you have to achieve dominance. You cannot go out there being lazy and half-assed, bro. Like I said, the biggest thing I hated watching from our offensive line last year was damn near the whole offensive line first step was backwards. Nobody took a step forward except for JPJ. JPJ was the only person I seen coming off the line going forward. Everybody else, everybody else was first step was back because they was getting pushed back because they was coming late up off that line, man. When you come off that line early, your first step should be forward, never backwards, especially in a running game.
Well,
especially in a running game. Nate knows this.
Yeah, you got to be aggressive. You got
to be, bro. You cannot take every step, every snap you take. Your first step is backwards. That just don't make no sense to me. We fighting for yards. You giving up yards before we even fight. You giving up yards before we even fight. Because your one step could be 2 to 3 yards sometimes. That makes no sense.
No, you're right. So let me give a shout out to the chat, man. We got 50 people in the chat, man. Thanks for coming by, showing some love. Shout out to 805 Raider in the building. If you guys ain't subscribed to him, man, his link is in the chat. Nightbots posted it, man. So you guys go show my boy 805 Raider some love. Hey, so you guys are telling me, so this conversation I'm having tonight about quarterbacks telling me that Aiden O'Connell has a chance to be the starting quarterback. So there's a chance. 805?
I will tell you right now, I think Aiden O'Connell is a better quarterback than Fernando Mendoza right now. As I said, it's purely based on just the fact that he's got years of experience in the NFL already. So he's already seen it. He's digested. You know that he's been able to find some success, not a lot, but some success. You know, I mean, he thrown for 300+ yards against Kansas City, stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying that Aiden O'Connell is a starting caliber quarterback right now, but just based on his experience and the years he's had in the NFL so far, I'm telling you, based on what Fernando Mendoza and just his play in college and how it translates to the NFL, I mean, I think there's going to be a shit ton of growing pains for Fernando Mendoza in this first year. That's not me saying that Fernando Mendoza, as he starts to kind of develop and understand the game, he skyrockets past Aiden O'Connell. That very well could happen. I'm just saying, as it stands today, right now, yeah, I think Aiden O'Connell's better.
Hey, bro, you know what's funny is I've been pounding the table for Aiden O'Connell for fucking years, bro. And I was saying, brother, if there's any year that he might really have a chance, it might be this year. And I'm not trying to downplay Kirk Cousins by any stretch of the imagination, but Aiden O'Connell's been here longer. I think this locker room, like, backs Aiden O'Connell extremely well. You know what I'm saying? Kirk Cousins is a quarterback that's getting up there in age that, you know, is coming off a real bad injury. But all that to the side, no, bro, I like Aiden, bro. You feel me? And I don't know why Raider fans, it is what it is. I'm not going to get into it. You know what I'm saying? He was drafted by us, guys. A lot of Raider fans treat him like he's one of these veteran quarterbacks we brought the street and just hate on him for no reason, bro. But no, man, shout out to Aiden O'Connell, dude. And I said this a couple weeks ago, Dirty and Netty Raider. Now, you guys can attest. We was talking about, Aiden O'Connell might have a real shot, bro. I like Aiden O'Connell, dog. So Aiden O'Connell's never, in my opinion, never really been given a chance. He's a lot of that Derek Carr background where he's come in with the Raiders and had like 5 different coaches, 10 different coordinators. You know what I'm saying? And dude, Aiden O'Connell's done something. It's been a long time, 50 years or something, however long it was, 15 years. He put up 63 points. That's the most in our franchise history. And people can be like, well, he didn't do it all himself. It don't matter, bro. But I'm rocking with Aiden O'Connell, bro. And shout out to,
I'm gonna say this.
Man win, but shout out to Aiden O'Connell. I'm done. I'm getting off the soapbox.
I'm gonna say this about Aiden O'Connell. I am gonna say this. I don't feel the kid has gotten a fair shake. I'll be honest about that. I don't feel he's gotten a fair shake. I feel like he should have started over Minshew. I feel like he should have started over Geno. Honestly. I felt like both years he kind of got shafted, you know what I mean, with, you know, the quarterback basically decision. So, like, would I want to see him get his opportunity, yes, I would love to see the kid finally get his genuine opportunity. Go out there and try and, you know, be the starting quarterback. You know, you're young, you've started games before, you have a head on your shoulder. I think you fragile as shit, but you know what I mean, go out there, take a hold of your opportunity, bro. This one is not going to stick around for you. It's just not going to stick around for you. So, you know, and that's just being honest. He's never been given a fair opportunity. He's never been given a shot.
He's never had the weapons. I was thinking about the other day.
Weapons or not, regardless of weapons or not, bro. Weapons or not, it starts at the top. And when you've already been ruled out as the starting quarterback, no matter what you do, that's unfair. And it's been done to him twice. It's been done to him with Gardner Minshew, and it's been done to him with Chino. Yeah, well, Gino, whatever you want to call him, man. I don't even give a shit. I don't even know if he gonna play this year. He running into a whole lot of issues and problems his damn self. Glad he's not here. But really, like, is he better than Mendoza? Technically, he should be, because he's been in the NFL longer. Mendoza hasn't thrown a NFL pass. He hasn't seen an NFL snap. AOC has. He's younger than Kirk Cousins. Has a better
how many of those
than
games?
Kirk Cousins.
How many of those games did he play with Colton Miller? How many? So he's played like what, a total of like 17 games or something so far. AOC
with Colton Miller, I can't.
How many of those?
Would probably say maybe out of those 17, maybe probably about 5.
I say even less, bro. I feel like we put him in there in some terrible situations. The protection's bad. Team's falling apart. The other quarterback got hurt, so we just throw him. We trot him out there, and we put him in some bad situations. I feel like it's about time that if he don't get a chance with us, and he's gonna get it somewhere.
I agree, bro. That part.
But I think that's the reason why we haven't traded him, is because I think he's actually getting the opportunity to go out there and show what he truly can do.
Bro,
if you don't plan on playing Fernando, you do have to plan on having a backup for Kirk Cousins. And if it's not Fernando, then who? You can't say Jacob is your backup.
Kirk Cousins.
So it has to be AOC, right? So if AOC is your backup, that means he can contend for a starting position too. And if they go out there in the preseason and he's the better quarterback, like, I expect for the best guy to start. I'm not taking no year off, rebuild. I'm not up for all of that. You need to bring me more than 3 effing wins, bro. Plain and simple. You need to bring me more than 3 effing wins. I'm not sitting around for three freaking wins. For what? For what?
Yeah, bro.
For what? You on the chopping block too. Get me somebody in here who can win. I mean, now. And it don't have to be 12 games. It could be 6, it could be 7, it could be 8. Anything higher than 8, I'm fine with. But show me you came in here to build something, and that we're heading in a direction that people could be proud of. You come in here and give me 3 wins like I had last year, man, bro. What have you done? What have you done?
So since we're talking about wins, let me ask 805 this. You don't have to get a win total on. Just what's your overall expectation for year 1 with the Raiders? 805. Year one with Kubiak, I should say. Sorry.
We kind of broke down the schedule, and now, mind you, I'll preface this as well. Like I wanted Clint Kubiak.
Right, Reynoso.
So
yeah, me too. That's why I have a little bit of hype. Sorry. But
and so we got the head coach, and that's got to obviously account for something, right?
Yeah.
And so we broke down the schedule, and I'll be honest, my floor was 2 wins, my ceiling's 4 wins. That's kind of where I see it. I think it's going to take, if Kirk Cousins does truly get to start week 1, I think it's going to take him probably a good 4 to 5 games just to kind of get his feet wet with the weapons in real game-like situation. I think that there's a good chance that Fernando Mendoza and Aiden O'Connell are probably going to get the majority of snaps in preseason. I'm not sure how much Kirk Cousins will get. So he's going to have to get his feet wet. One of the hardest things to do with quarterbacks is get chemistry with your receivers. And so he's going to have to try to figure that out against live defenses, right? Not just in practice and stuff like that. So it might take him 4, maybe 5 games just to kind of get his feet wet. But at the same time, like, we have a tough ass schedule. Our schedule ain't easy. And some of the games that we should win, like we should beat Miami, there's a good chance that we should be competitive against the Saints, but I think we're just meeting the Saints a little too early. I think the Saints, they're going to be dialed in. It's year 2 for Tyler Shook. It's year 2 for the head coach over there. So they just might be more dialed in than us. And we got to go to New Orleans. So Kirk Cousins is, again, I think is still trying to get his feet wet with our receivers in the chemistry. So we might end up just losing that one. And then after that, you look at the schedule, like, we're going against good defenses. We're going against some overall good teams, and our AFC West opponents, they've all gotten better. And you can't tell me that Kirk Cousins just drastically improves this team if he's the starter. So I just think that the ceiling, in my opinion, is 4. God, I'm going to sit back and drink as many Jack and Cokes as I can on Sunday and barbecue and just have some fun.
Hey, cheers to that 805, bro, because we're in the same ballpark, my boy, because I said the floor is 3 and the ceiling is 5, bro. So we're right in that same, bro. It's not going to be easy, bro. This first, and look at historically, like I said, we don't have to get all in the analytics, but just look what analytics say historically, bro. First-time head coach, first-time system, first-time quarterback in said system, first defensive coordinator, first-time dude calling plays on defense. Like, there's so many first everything, dude. And shit like this takes time to build. This wasn't a overnight success, you know what I'm saying? This isn't an overnight celebrity, you know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is going to take a couple of years, bro. And like I said, I think 2 years from now, I think the Raiders will have a shot if Fernando develops. But no, I'm with you. I think next year the Raiders are going to be in position to possibly team Fernando up with a really good wide receiver. I think if we're in that, like you said, 2 to 4 win range, or in that 3 to 5 win range, I don't want to look too forward in the future, bro, but I think that'll put us in the spot to get Jeremiah Smith. And if we can get Jeremiah Smith with Brock Bowers, bro, and that should be fire. Go ahead, Dirty.
Everybody want to be Cinderella. Nobody want to wear the gown. Look, my ceiling is 10. My floor is 6. I expect no less than 6 wins. Now, you scream a lot of first this, first that, first this. But look, other teams that got first going on too. You know what I mean? We're not the only team in the AFC West.
What up, Money Mike? Saludos.
Right? So everybody's got to get adjusted to their new surroundings. You know, Chargers got a new offensive coordinator. Broncos got a new offensive coordinator. Fucking Chiefs got a new offensive coordinator. Right? We got a new offensive coordinator, new head coach. Okay, cool. But there's a lot of things that got to be learned. I kept telling y'all that the quarterback over with the Chargers wasn't shit. I meant that. He's done nothing impressive. Not a damn thing. And I don't care what you say, oh, well, and this. What does he do? What does he do when the playoffs come? Nothing. Nothing at all. He crumbles. He becomes who he actually is. I'm just saying. Chargers don't have hard schedules. Their schedules are usually laxy-daisy. Fairly easy. This year, they got to actually go through the gauntlet. So they got to prove something. Because this year, they actually got to face every single person we face. And they usually don't have to do that. But this year, they do. Every team that we play in the AFC East, they got to play. Every team we play in the NFC West, they have to play.
On top of trying to stay healthy.
On top of trying to stay healthy. So this year we actually get to see what they truly all about. Because for the most part, they don't usually play the same schedule as us. They get a couple of easy games thrown in there. We don't get nothing thrown or handed to us. It's the reason why we're not on prime time this year. When have you ever seen the Raiders not have one primetime game? Even at our worst, we usually get one primetime game.
Can I just insert this, Dirty? Just insert this real quick, bro, since you were talking about the Chargers. I think the Chargers, bro, they're going to be way different and probably a lot worse on defense this year, bro, because they got rid of the dude that had went to the Baltimore Ravens. His name's slipping my mind right now, dude. But he's pretty good. That defensive coordinator the Chargers had, they replaced him with like some no-name defensive coordinator from like Western Michigan or some shit, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like some no-name. Yeah, some no-name dude, bro. So I think they're going to get worse on defense, bro. But I think they might have a better offense. Sorry, dude. I just want to put that in there. For people that didn't know about the Chargers, bro, I think defensively they're going to get worse, bro.
No, I don't know. I don't think their offense is going to be that good, honestly. I think it's going to take that offense a minute to actually get jump-started and going because Mike McDaniel and Harbaugh, they got to figure it out. They got to figure out how to who really calling what plays, bro. You know what I mean? You talking about a guy coming off a head coaching job to a guy who just got back to head coaching. So
both their tackles coming off this surgery too.
But I'm saying they got to truly figure out how to make it work too. So you know what I mean?
Mentor, yeah.
Yeah, like so for me, like bro, like there's a lot of teams going through first. Ben, what's old boy name that everybody wanted as a head coach from Denver, the quarterback coach.
I can't. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
He's the offensive coordinator now, right, in Denver.
Yeah,
this is his first year of doing that.
Callahan? Was it Callahan?
Nah, not Callahan. But this is his first year as an offensive coordinator, so their offense gonna be different. It's gonna have to get kick started. You know what I mean? And so then you got Kansas City bringing back somebody who felt like they deserved the job so many years ago that you didn't give the job to. Eric Bieniemy should have been the offensive coordinator many, many moons ago in Kansas City. He had to go other places and prove that he was worthy to get that job. So there's going to be a little bit of setback there. We hear reports that Mahomes is okay, but do we really know if Mahomes is okay? Because I guarantee you this, he'll never be the Mahomes he was before that injury. He'll never be that again.
You think so? You think that Mahomes injury is that bad?
I honestly believe if Mahomes is in the top 5 quarterbacks, he's okay. He will not be in the top 3, but if he's in the top 5, he's okay. I honestly feel like he might be on the downside of his mountain now after that injury.
I don't know, bro. I think as long as you got Andy Reid, go ahead, 805. Sorry.
I just think it's tough because we can always go back and kind of take a look at our divisional opponents, right, and kind of pick them apart and maybe talk about some of their weaknesses. And even though they're like you're saying, right, they promoted that kid.
What up, Jay?
That was for the head coaching job here, but for other places as well. I think he's promoted offensive coordinator just kind of title-wise. I think Sean Payton's still going to be calling plays up there, similar with our offensive coordinator. It's really going to be Kubiak calling plays, stuff like that. So,
was his game, yeah.
But at the end of the day, as much as we could look at the Chargers and Broncos and Chiefs and that they just maybe haven't improved as much as we think they are, or we might overlook some things or just say, look, like they made this change, but that's not going to be any good. I don't know how much better we've gotten as it relates to, like, it's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins averaged damn near 170 yards last year in the 9 games that he played. So I don't know how much he's just going to be throwing the ball everywhere. We did get Linderbaum. We addressed the offensive line. Let's hope that we could have a better offensive line. On paper, it should be better. But at the end of the day, we were literally the worst rushing team last year, and we picked Genty overall. So we'll see just kind of how that works out. But then again, if you talk to Chargers fans or Chiefs fans or Broncos fans, they can say the same thing. Robbie Leonard's brand new. He's a no-name guy, so how good is he going to be? So I just don't know how much, and we have so many question marks at the receiver position as relates to who's going to truly be the number one. How much better did our offense really get? And so does that mean we could actually put points up on the board on a consistent basis and outscore the Broncos or Chargers or Chiefs or what have you? I have no clue, because on paper, I just don't know how much better we've gotten. And so for me, I just look at that and go, and the Raiders at this point, they gotta prove it. They gotta show me some goddamn consistency that you can come out and play some solid football, not just for one game, but for a stretch of games for us to even have a chance at competing against our AFC West rivals. So I'm kind of in wait and see mode. Let's put it that way, because last year my ceiling was 6, my floor was 3, and we hit our floor. And I think a lot of it, obviously, with injuries and stuff like that. But
I think it had a lot to do with terrible coaching. But
yeah, terrible coaching. But and that's the only reason why I gave 6, because I felt like Pete Carroll's experience maybe should have accounted for something that maybe could have helped a little bit. That's why I had at least 6, but the floor was 3. And obviously, Pete Carroll and his kids were just an absolute debacle. So I'm in purely wait and see mode, because I just don't know if we made the moves in the offseason outside of maybe some of our defensive players. Obviously, Linderbaum, I think, in my opinion, was a good pickup. I love that. But as a whole, how much did we get better? That's my only thing. So I am definitely in wait and see mode. I hope it's 10, big dog. I hope that it is 10.
Yeah, I have high hopes. You know what I mean? I understand I got high hopes, but I look at what the team has done. You know, you're looking out, Bruce Willis, for the super chat. You know, good night, good show tonight. Fernando is our QB national. Stop hating on the young man. Give him a chance. P.S. All mine.
Bruce.
But no, what I was saying is basically like, man,
Thanks, Bruce.
What was I saying?
You said you had good confidence.
The linebacking core. Looking at the things that this team has done, right? They upgraded the linebacker core. I mean, we can all sit here and see that what we brought in is a vast upgrade to what we had, right? Now we hope that it all pans out. I would like to see 2 more players brought in. You know, personally, just me, I would like to see Devin White brought back and Jamal Adams. I would like to see those 2 brought back, just so I feel a little bit more comfortable at the depth of linebacker. Not necessarily saying I need them to start, but if I just feel a little bit more comfortable with the depth, especially with, you know, Nakobe Dean, you know, the way his seasons kind of go, I want to feel that comfort at that position. Our corners are better than the corners we had last year. You know what I mean? Even though we have not seen them play a down in football, we all know what Jermod. That's a weird ass name, man. Jermod McCoy, bro.
Take it easy, Bruce Willis. Have a great night.
Every time I say that, I feel like I just want to say Kermit. You know what I mean? Like, but Jermod McCoy, like, we all see what he did in college. Had it not been for his injury, this kid is easily a number 1. You know, he's easily a first-round draft pick for somebody, right? The kid is that good. We've seen the defensive back. Well, I've seen the defensive backfield for the Arizona Wildcats. I've seen what they could do. You know what I mean? I watched them this year. I watched a little bit of Pac-12. You know what I mean? Just because I'm a SC fan and we're no longer there, I still kind of keep up with, you know what I mean, teams that play over there. And I think they're not even in the Pac-12 anymore, are they? Didn't they move too?
I don't know.
Or they might still be there. But on the West Coast, they play. You know what I mean? Fox Sports, they're on Fox Sports. So, turn it on and you might catch a game. But I've seen moves in the past that don't rival the moves that we made this year. Yes, it is all the signs of a rebuild, but it's not the signs of a complete teardown, right? Like, they've already built a foundation with the coaching staff. They knocked it out the park with the coaching staff this year. Honestly believe they did their homework. They got all the right people in the right places. Like, for me, that's the biggest difference out of all the years prior to this one, is who has been at helm. And it's always started at the top. It started with Telesco, a guy I felt like should have never been given the job. Like, I feel like he ruined this team. I honestly feel like Telesco ruined this team. You didn't pay Josh Jacobs. Why would you not pay Josh Jacobs? That's the only thing you got to do is pay Josh Jacobs. That's all you got to do. And you didn't do that. Everybody keeps saying, oh, no, that was McDaniels. It wasn't McDaniels. It was Telesco. It was Telesco who didn't want to pay the running back. It's Telesco who let him walk out the building. All right? It was not. It was not McDaniels and the other dude.
Marky Mark could have put his foot down. Hey, we're keeping this motherfucker here.
Hey, look. He brought Telesco in to do a job. That was the first thing that Telesco, he was supposed to work out a deal. He couldn't figure out a deal. And I feel like that was, honestly, I never wanted Telesco. I knew Josh Jacobs was going to walk out the building when we got Telesco because he's never valued running backs ever. When you look at the Chargers and the running backs that they had good ones that he would not pay. And then they would go and get some B-rated running backs and try to put a running back room together. He was not for paying running backs. He just didn't want to do it. So, I knew the writing was on the wall that Josh Jacobs wasn't going to get his money. And it made me sad.
And now Ashton Genty gets paid damn near the same as Josh Jacobs.
All righty, stop. Take it easy, bro.
Because we got a new GM, right? So, for me, I'm just saying, I'm seeing moves being made. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a culture being developed. I'm not saying it's, it's fully. I see what culture they're trying to develop. And for me, I don't think they're going to be happy with anything less than 6. They're not going to be happy with anything less than 6. So they're going to at least go out there and fight for 6 wins. At least fight for 6. And they may end up with 10. Honestly, because I don't think this team is so far behind the curve that they couldn't be a 6 to 10 win season. Honestly, I don't. The offensive line coach has experience. He knows what he's doing. He wasn't given the job because the head coach slept with the coach's mama, right? He didn't give you the job because he's your daddy. He gave you the job because you come with experience. You know what you're doing. So every single coach on this coaching staff comes with experience of some form or fashion, right? Yes, Rob Leonard is in his first year as being a defensive coordinator, but that's how people get discovered. You have to be given an opportunity to do something first. That's like, I hate filling out job applications where it says some experience required, no experience needed. Well, which one is it? Is it some experience required or no experience needed? It can't be both, right? It can't be both. It's a contradiction. I just don't see any coaches on this coaching staff that are a contradiction this year.
So I think what's difficult, though, is like with Robbie Leonard, right? I liked Robbie Leonard as a D-line coach. I think he did a really good job, obviously. And you have guys come into this organization like Caleb Chason, right? Former first rounder that didn't work out, but then Robbie Leonard was able to get something out of him. We could talk about Tyree Wilson. That's a whole other topic. I think Tyree Wilson just didn't have the desire to be good. So there's not a whole lot you could do. But I do like Robbie Leonard. But at the same time, I think the question is, was Robbie Leonard Clint Kubiak's first pick or top choice? It couldn't have been, because we had to wait to hire on Clint Kubiak until after the Super Bowl. So all the other head coaches got their jobs. All the other head coaches started bringing in their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator prospects, and they were starting to hire people. We had to kind of wait for the very last second. And so when it came to Clint Kubiak, he kind of had pick of the litter. There wasn't a whole lot left, but Robbie Leonard already had experience with our guys in the locker room. So maybe it felt like that was just a maybe natural pick, because there wasn't a whole lot left. I hope Robbie Leonard does well, but I'm just curious as to how much Robbie Leonard is actually him. And there are, Dirty, you said it, right? We brought in guys like Nakobe Dean. I really like Nakobe Dean. Cross our fingers he stays healthy, or is healthy and stays healthy. I'm extremely excited for Quay Walker. I want to see Quay Walker fly all over this football field. So I'm excited about it. But how good is Robbie Leonard? How deserving is he of that actual DC position, given the fact that Clint Kubiak had to hire him in the 11th hour when I don't know who else was left after all the other head coaches got hired on and went out and got their DCs. So I hope he's good. I hope just the experience that he comes from the Brian Flores. He coached under Brian Flores, which I love Brian Flores and his defense. I actually would have loved for him to be our head coach, to be dead honest with you. So hopefully he's learned a lot from Brian Flores and can implement that and becomes a good defensive coordinator. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to figure out, like, man, I hope he's good, but I just don't know. Was that Clint Kubiak's top guy or first pick? Remains to be seen. So I just, in my book, there's just a question mark on how good he's going to be. And when the game starts, how long is it going to take for him to possibly get his feet wet? Same with Clint Kubiak. Clint Kubiak has never been a head coach before. So is it going to take him 3, 4, 5 games? As much as that was my pick and I wanted him as the head coach, how long is it going to take him to adapt to being the offensive coordinator and also managing it as a head coach on the sideline? Maybe Mike McCoy, our assistant head coach, is really going to help out with that, which I'm assuming he will in some capacity. But for the most part, Clint Kubiak is going to have to learn as well. And how quickly is he going to be able to adapt to the new role of head coach and offensive coordinator? We'll see. That's why those are just question marks that kind of just knock us down in the win column, in my opinion, because we're going against some really good coaches in just our own division, as well as the opponents that we're going to see. So that's why it just knocks me down a little bit. But
look, everything you said has validation to it. You know what I mean? You're not wrong. I'm looking at the cup; it's half full. You know what I mean? Like I kind of see same things. Let me answer this question for Severe real quick, because he asked, like, who are we beating for these 6 wins? And I feel like there's a bar that has to be set, right? In our building, there's a bar that has to be set for any head coach that comes in here. You cannot get washed in your own division. You have to, at minimum, split your division. That means you need to go 1-1 with everybody. You cannot go out here and be getting swept by the Broncos, swept by the Chargers, and then thinking it's going to be okay to just split 1-1 with the Chiefs when they down to their 4th-string quarterback. That's not okay. So I think first and foremost, there has to be a bar set, and you have to say you're getting at least 3 wins out your own division, because you are going to split with everybody in your division. The day of getting just compotted, bamboozled and rocked, in your own division, those days are over, man. That has to be an understanding when you take the head coaching job here. You cannot get boo-backed in your own division. You have to at least go 3-3 in the division. Now, with those 3 wins out the way, I feel like the Dolphins is a win. I feel like the Jets is a win. I feel like the Browns is a win. I feel like the Cardinals is a win. And I mean, I'm just saying, like, that's 4 teams that aren't very good football teams.
The Jets, the Titans.
The Titans are there. They could be a win. But I'm just saying, like, I just threw out just 7 for you real quick. 3-3 in our own division. And at least 4 more wins playing the Dolphins, the Jets, the Browns, and the Cardinals. Even if you say you lose to the Jets, you still gonna beat the Browns and the Cardinals. Or say you lose to the Browns, you still gonna beat the Jets.
Bro, this is the Raiders. I hate to cut you off, Dirty, but this is the Raiders, bro. We can't guarantee a fucking win against nobody, dog.
3 wins in the division is crazy.
Bro, we play up and down to our competition, bro. I hate to cut you off, bro, but I get it. Like, we should win these games, Dirty, no doubt. Like, when you look at it, like, yeah, you feel me? But dude, like, we suck, bro, and I hate to say that, bro. Like, we're good at certain positions, we lack depth.
I got it.
Sucks, and there's a lot of, and sucks might be the bad word. I'm sorry, but we're not ready yet, bro. Is what I'm trying to say. And the coaching staff is young. This
ain't about being ready for no playoffs or Super Bowl. This about being ready to not be a 3-win team anymore. Middle of the tier. 6 wins is your floor. 6 wins is your floor. I don't care for nothing else. When you have a mental mindset and you're trying to change a culture, 6 needs to be your minimum. Your minimum wins need to start at 6.
So with the ceiling 10, Dirty, I'm just curious because I don't know what your take is on Kirk Cousins at all. Do you think Kirk Cousins, with the offense that we have today, is good enough to get us 10 wins?
I'm gonna shock you and I'm gonna say something.
Okay.
I believe if Aiden O'Connell is what most people think he can actually be, I think he could actually move this team in the right directions. I think Kirk Cousins is nice. I think he has the brain for it. But like you said, my concern, like you said, your concern is the same concern I have, that arm strength. If you can't deliver the ball at the time that it needs to be delivered, well, you're just begging for a turnover.
Well, they lived in shotgun his last few games in Atlanta too, because he can't really move.
Because he can't really move. If you look at it right now, your most complete quarterback on your roster right now is Aiden O'Connell.
That part. I like that.
He is the only one who can play under center and play in shotgun. Cousins can do it, but is age a factor in him playing under center?
I mean, they both injury prone if we keep it a being.
So I mean, if we keeping it a buck, I really do think this team has a better chance with Aiden O'Connell over Kirk Cousins, but it just needs to be seen. It just needs to be seen. So this is his chance. This is his opportunity. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. I want Kirk Cousins to succeed if he's the better option. But if AOC can actually go out there and get it done and do something, I'm not opposed to it. But I want to see the kid get a fair shot. I will say that. I want to see the kid get a fair opportunity to go out there and fight for the position. Not just be glanced and looked over just because you're paying somebody else more money. So what? I know a lot of CEOs that make a whole lot of money. They're not better than the people that make the money for them.
All I got to do is I got to add this fan base will flip their shit if Kirk Cousins gets hurt and AOC trots on that field and they don't see Fernando Mendoza. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you. Like I would understand because again of what I think of Fernando Mendoza, I think it's going to take him a full season to just digest the NFL. But this fan base will flip. If Kirk Cousins gets hurt or doesn't do well and we see Aiden O'Connell trot on, good luck.
They're gonna say fire Kubiak.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's got to be Aiden O'Connell to start with Fernando the backup. There's no way that Aiden O'Connell can be behind. Yeah, there's no way that Fernando Mendoza can be behind Aiden O'Connell in terms of being a backup. They're gonna lose their shit like
it'll
that,
be
bro.
signs tank for Manning at the stadium by the end of the year.
So that's why it's either you start. It's just like you either start Aiden O'Connell or you trade him. You guys think that there's a real deal possibility that they could trade Aiden? I've been seeing that shit too. They're saying that the Raiders might trade Aiden O'Connell.
I thought that was the goal.
Okay,
that's what I thought. Because he's the shorts and t-shirt champion without pads on, right? However they say it. My bad. But he goes out there and he throws darts when the pressure ain't on him, but you put the pressure on and it's a different story. So we'll see. With better coaching and better scheme and hopefully better offensive line play, we're starting with the center right there with Linderbaum. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm not expecting a lot, but I'm expecting to be better for sure.
I mean, the last time the Raiders teamed up a young center with a young quarterback, it worked out well. You know what I'm saying? We had Rodney Hudson and Derek Carr. So, I mean, we got it. That's why that 1 year when I had made that whole did that whole stream based on the 2016 Raiders compared to this season's Raiders. I was just primarily looking at how the team had built the team around Derek. That was like the last time the Raiders had went all in on a quarterback, in my opinion. And shout out to Reggie McKenzie, dug the Raiders up out of that deep ass hole with Jamarcus Russell's contract and, drafted Derek and Khalil and then, spent a bunch of money on the offensive line, got in Gabe Jackson, brought in Rodney Hudson, and did it the right way. And the reason why I made that comparison is because I think that's the only way we're going to get any actual hope out of Fernando. Like, we got to hope the Raiders do it the way they did it when they did it with Derek, bro. Like, you got to go out there. You got to invest around your quarterback, build around your quarterback. The Raiders got two really good pieces that are going to complement each other extremely well on the offensive side of the ball with, a damn good running back and, borderline top fucking 5 player, top 7 player in the entire league, best tight end in the league, or top 5 player in the entire league, best tight end in the league. Sorry, guys. With Brock Bowers, I mean, he's put in a situation to succeed, you know what I'm saying? But we just got to see, you know what I'm saying? So
let me ask 805 this, because I asked Ben and I asked Nate this question, but let me take the opportunity to ask you. How would you feel, or what would be your reaction if you saw Brock Bowers lined up and placed in position as our number 1 wide receiver, not a tight
end? One, I wouldn't be surprised with what we have on our roster right now. I wouldn't be surprised. But I also then would be pissed because Brock Bowers could be the biggest mismatch in the NFL if you use him traditionally as a receiver, or I'm sorry, as a tight end, right? But Brock Bowers is going to be able to absolutely expose defenses if you get the right matchup.
Yeah.
You put him against linebackers and safeties and stuff, he is going to tear them apart day in.
Thanks, Gary.
And not saying that Brock Bowers can't beat number 1 corners. He can. It just makes it more difficult. Right? He could go up against a Patrick Surtain, right, and they could battle, but it doesn't mean that he's going to win every single rep or win the majority of reps. I think he's going to battle. I think he could find success. But if you want to absolutely maximize Brock Bowers' ability, then and we don't have a true number 1 receiver, because right now it looks like our number 1 receiver is going to be Jalen Naylor.
Yeah.
You went out and you got him in free agency. You signed him for a 3-year contract. Yeah. And because he's got ties to Kirk Cousins, because he has ties to Kubiak, I think there's a good chance we might be looking at Jalen Naylor as the number 1. And if he just doesn't command the respect of the defense as a true number 1, then that means that you can now lock up Brock Bowers, bracket him. You can double team him, triple team him based on the defense. You can line a slot on him, a nickel corner 1-on-1 with the linebacker on the inside, safety sitting on top. Like, there's so much that you can do to defend Brock Bowers if you don't have a true number one to attract that number one corner. And he doesn't need to be the best receiver. He could be a middle tier number one. It could be like a Cortland Sutton, right? It could even be someone like a Jacoby Myers back in the day when we had him. And that would just open the floodgates for Brock Bowers to absolutely dismantle and expose defenses. But because
would it change your mind? Would it change your mind if you made him the number one but played him in the slot?
You could definitely.
I mean, he played 70% of his snaps at Georgia as a slot wide receiver.
I know.
It's still tough, though, because defenses now can get so creative on how you defend it, and it makes it that much harder for a quarterback to process what the defense is doing post-snap, right? And so if you can make it as blatant as possible for the defense to where their number one corner, or they have to leverage over to one side just to respect that number one, and now Brock Bowers can kind of run everywhere and kind of find soft spots in zones or expose a mismatch.
Yeah, that's the only time. Yeah,
man, you would have to scheme up so well.
Yep.
To use Brock Bowers as a true number one receiver, you would have to scheme up extremely well to make that work consistently across the board, in my opinion. I'm not saying I can't do it. I wish.
No, I just posed a question. I'm not necessarily saying that's something I want to happen, or I necessarily need to see happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it happen in some games.
So I'm gonna say this, bro. I said this shit before, and you guys can agree with me or not. Just let me know. I said like last year that Brock Bowers is the ultimate chess piece. He's the ultimate unicorn on offense. He's the kind of guy that you could pretty much line up everywhere, and he's gonna win a rep. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that he's teamed up with a coach like Clint Kubiak, because Clint Kubiak, in my opinion, he's more of a coach that tries to find your weak spot and attack that. So if he knows, this guy isn't good in coverage, or, this guy's not good at, stopping the run, he's a matchup based coach. And in my opinion, with Kubiak, he finds where your weak spot is and he continues to attack it. I think a lot of the NFL has gotten to a more matchup based scheme. That's why you're seeing these bridge corner safeties with Kyle Hamilton and Petrie and the dude from the Seahawks now, because the NFL is becoming less, obviously concepts and schemes go into a lot of things, bro, but coaches, the better coaches, if you look at the Niners with Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, bro, what they do is they just find your weakest defender. And regardless, this guy might not be the best player on your offense, bro. But he knows that this guy is better than that guy. And he's going to do a motion or whatever to get the better matchup.
Exposed.
Yes, he's going to get the matchup he wants. And that's the reason why I love Brock Bowers so much as a tight end, because they're going to be able to do so many things with him, ghost motion, whatever they need to do to get Brock Bowers in a spot where he's going to be on a linebacker, he's going to be on a safety. And we could talk about cliche, but yes, when he's not being a linebacker's not running with Brock, and a safety's not jumping with Brock. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that he is that ultimate chess piece, bro. And there's not many of those, dog.
Yeah, you can move Brock around. He's a damn unicorn. He's a damn unicorn for sure. But it brings up an issue for me. Maybe you can help me out, 805. It's an issue of us constantly, Raiders, the front office, I guess you could say, is we're constantly getting players and then playing them out of position or switching their positions, and that it's like moving Brock from a tight end to wide receiver. It wouldn't really matter because he's a fucking unicorn. But one of the ones is JPJ. They moved him from center to guard. Or some people say he was never a center. They drafted him to play guard. But what do you think?
I think it's tough because obviously he won the award for the best center in college football, right? So he can at least play the position. Can you play it at an elite level in the pros? That remains to be seen. I have no clue what happened last year. This is what pisses me off, is that you have a player that we drafted in the second round and you have a coaching staff with Pete Carroll and his son that it felt like they were just playing games with him. Like there's no world where Will Putnam should be playing center or what have you. But then you play games, obviously, with Jordan Meredith as well. And you take a guy that's never played center before, but just came off of being a top 15 guard in the National Football League in 2024 and say, oh, well, shit, let's put him at center, which it made no sense at all. So I don't know if
I wrote his name down too. So good thing you brought him up. Yep.
I don't know if it's an ego thing with what, Pete Carroll was and Brendan Carroll was or what have you, and just absolutely said, yeah, guess what, JPJ, you're not going to be a center. The only way, this is the only way I can justify it, and this was one of the reasons why I actually felt like it was probably better that JPJ didn't play center, is because if he continued to have, whether it be just regular injuries or concussion injuries, the worst thing you could do, there's two positions that it sucks to lose. Number one, your center. When your center goes down and now backup comes in, that's the quarterback of the offensive line. You cannot risk losing your center. You want to minimize that risk as much as possible. And then obviously your left tackle. But because JPJ was having the injuries, maybe they were like, look, we got too many of them. We can't risk it, so we're going to put you at guard. Maybe that's why they did it. Not saying that it was the right decision, but that's the only way that I could just justify.
Yeah, I know. But would you say that him playing guard is the reason why he's getting injured? Because he plays center and he seems to finish the season.
I think the reason, and it's tough because guards typically pull a lot more than centers, right?
Yeah,
so they're getting out on screens, they're pulling and kicking out linebackers, and then they're leading up to the second level. And so you're going to have more contact at a distance. And then you got JPJ that just has that mentality that I want a Superman over every goddamn pile that I see.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to it. But, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it was Pete Carroll and them just being like, we can't risk injury, or they were just playing mind games because they thought he was too hot-headed coming in and saying, well, what was it to Genty? Like, I'm your center, whatever. It just
want you guys to be confident, bro, though. That's so.
Bro, they had
to take away his confidence
is playing center, bro.
And this
sabotage.
This kind of goes back to what I was saying before with the receiver core, right? Last year, you went and got Ashton Genty, right? You were targeting Ashton Genty at the number 6 overall pick because they had no hesitation when they drafted him at number 6. You see the footage, you see everything in that war room. They had no hesitation. Go get Genty, and if that was your goal, but then your second largest acquisition in free agency was Alex Kappa to shore up the offensive line. That makes no sense whatsoever, right?
Zero.
Later in training camp, you go ahead and go get Stone Forsythe as a possible backup. Like it just
Stone Forsythe is crazy work, dude.
That makes the Ashton Genty pick worthless.
Oh my god.
When you didn't address the O line, that pick became worthless. Now it's got to build up to something this year.
Well, so you have that, right? So you prepared poorly for your first round draft pick. That's number one. And then you come to this year, and we talked about Brock Bowers and stuff, and you can get creative and stuff like that. I get it. But if Brock Bowers just doesn't have the success that we think he should have, or our offense really isn't thriving as much as we think it should, and maybe it's because the lack of weapons. Jack Best didn't show much last year. Trey Tucker still up in the air as to kind of what he's going to do and how he's going to play. Deontay Thornton didn't have a good year. Jalen Naylor, in my opinion, at best is a number 2. What is he going to develop into? So we have so many question marks at the receiver room, but we also had the second most salary cap going into free agency this year, and we basically missed out on a bunch of receivers in not first because we're going to get Fernando Mendoza, but in the second and third round, there were still true possible number 1 receivers left on that board. And we went and got a possible backup tackle in Trey Zune and a Keon Crawford that might be a rotational piece. So if this year we end up Kirk Cousins or whoever the quarterback plays just does not produce well, and Brock Bowers isn't able to have the success that we think he should, and none of our receivers ultimately end up being productive or productive enough for it to equate to at least 7 or 8 wins or what have you, we could look back and go, You had the second most salary cap space and didn't do shit with it with this receiver room. And you waited until the 6th round to address the receivers. And if Jalen Naylor ends up not being as great or turn into a number one, that was your free agency pickup. So that's why this receiver room, not only receiver room, this O-line as well as receiver room, it better produce. Because John Spytek has now had 2 years to make sure this offensive line is corrected as well as the receiver room. And if it don't work, I don't know, for me, because I haven't been the biggest fan of Spytek's draft picks. But to me, just Spytek, you're on my hot seat, at least. Maybe nobody else is, but you're on my hot seat.
Bro, Jack. So, bro, I don't think Jack Best is going to be very good at all, bro. Like, the moment we draft him, I was kind of scratching my head at the draft pick. You know, I fuck with the feel good story. You feel me? And there's no disrespect to him or nothing, bro. But it's like, bro, I'm about goddamn exactly, dirty. I'm about goddamn tired of drafting feel good stories. Goddamn it! Like, I feel you, bro. Like, a lot of teams seen him coming out as a tight end, bro.
After we traded back that second time.
Bro, we traded back twice, and on top of that, Nutty Ritter Nate, neither one of them players that we traded back for even got on the fucking football the entire fucking football field the entire year till the end of the year. And some of us don't even know if they're going to be very good. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, the thing is, it's like people be like, oh, well, Pete Carroll didn't put him in until the end of the year, and he was playing vets and Tyler Lockett. You want to know why Tyler Lockett was getting playing time? Because he was creating separation in practice. Dude, Tyler Lockett wasn't creating any separation in practice, bro. People can be like, oh, well, media reporters and beat reporters can say stuff. Dude, all the insiders coming out of training camp the entire year was like, Jack Best is struggling to create separation in camp. And, dude, who were the corners, bro? Caillou Blue Kelly, dog. He was struggling. I mean, obviously, Eric Stokes had a great year, right? But Darian Porter, a converted wide receiver that was converted to corner, dude, he couldn't separate from Caillou Blue Kelly and a dude that was his first-year corner, bro. Porter played well, whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is, dude, Jack Best ain't very good, dog. He was way overdrafted. I hope, listen, when I say this, I hope I'm wrong, bro. Just like when we took Tyree Wilson and a lot of people were popping bottles like we were going back to the 99, the 2000, and I literally cried real tears. I cried real tears when we drafted Tyree Wilson. I hope I'm wrong, bro. But I'm telling you right now, from what I've seen about Jack Best, yeah, he can convert third downs, and that's what he did last year, bro. He respectfully stinks, bro. He stinks. And I hope I'm wrong, bro. He's going to play tight end in the National Football League before he ever is any bit successful as a wide receiver ever, bro. I hate to be that guy, bro, but he sucks. And in my opinion, he's one of them players that has the biggest to prove because we invested a second-round pick in somebody, bro. When you draft somebody in the second round, I don't want 20 catches and barely any yards. This dude, when you draft somebody in the second round, you're expecting an immediate impact, at least somebody who's going to make a name for themselves. And I don't want to hear Pete Carroll didn't get him out there. He sucked. He sucked the entire year, couldn't create separation in camp, and that's why he didn't play. I'm going to step back. Let me get y'all thoughts.
But amen, brother. Preach, man. Preach, brother. Amen. Preach, brother.
If Jack Best even attempts to try to be a tight end, the problem is Jack Best is listed as 6 foot or 6'1". You go find me a 6 foot tight end, 6'1" tight end that's somewhat successful and can live up to a second round draft pick. Great. Like, it just, this is where I struggle with Jack Best, and I'm with you. I think he was a feel-good story. I was sitting next to Cheeto Linus. We were watching the draft together with Loon and Fu Chris, another guy that's always in our chats and stuff. And I just, as soon as we picked it, I paused and I was like, holy shit. And because I was pissed. And so it is what it is. Again, like you said, Ben, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he balls, but based on what I saw on his game from last year, it wasn't even just separation or lack of separation. It was just his ability to be able to process zone a lot of times where you have to be able to find the soft spot in zones. You got to be able to have the speed to get to the zone and know when to shut it down and read the defense as they move post-snap. And he struggled to do it, and that's why quarterbacks just didn't have confidence. Geno Smith, but like that's why Geno Smith just didn't have confidence to look his way.
What up, Dallas Cowboys?
So we'll see. I hope he improves. I hope he lives up to a second round draft pick.
Yeah, you would have his blocking would have to improve for me to move to tight end. I don't see him as a good blocker.
Like a Delaney Walker. You guys remember him?
Bro, let's just say this, man. This is his year, bro. If he don't pan out this year, bro, I don't see him getting another opportunity. I just don't. I feel like this is one of those front offices that's not going to sit around 3 years and wait for you. You know what I mean? You either get a hold of it in the first 2 years or you go bye-bye. There's no reason for me to sit around and just hope and wish and pray that you finally get it in year 3. No. Ain't nobody got time for that. I need you to have a full grasp and concept by year 2 of what it is you need to do. It's not that hard, bro. You need to run better routes. You need to be a little bit faster. You know, you need to be able to help the quarterback out. You need to be able to set a block. Like, bro, these are not hard things to do if you work at them. And you should have been working all year 1 and this offseason to be better for year 2 because you know you didn't do shit in year 1. Now, if I don't see that from you in year 2, what's the point of bringing you back for year 3? Why?
I think what makes it cool is the fact that Jack Bech is another guy like Darian Porter. Jack Bech is another guy. He's a former tight end. He played tight end at LSU, 1 year at the receiver position. So he's another guy that just doesn't have the experience at playing receiver. And there's reports that he's kind of bulked up a little bit. There's reports that he's got a little bit bigger. And when you already lack speed, getting bigger I don't know if it's going to help you too much. But the problem with the lack of speed when it comes to receiver, not only did he struggle to get separation man to man, because he needs to get better at route running. He needs to get better at understanding how to leverage the position of the defender through your route. But also when you lack speed, the problem is you don't have the ability to kind of clear zones, right? To find soft spots or be able to expose on the other side of the field. If you don't have the speed to clear zones, to get to another zone that's vacant, or to be able to pull defenders in time, and all of a sudden your quarterback's now sitting back there for 5 seconds, and you just cannot clear a zone to allow other receivers to get open, or again, to get to the zone that's vacant. When you don't have that speed, you're a hindrance to the offense. It's not going to be good.
No doubt.
And that's what you kind of saw last year, is that he didn't even have the speed to get to the other side of the field.
No.
To get to the vacant zone. And so when defenders know you can't get there, when defenders know you don't have the speed to be able to clear zones or even get out of zones in time, they're not going to respect you. They're not going to at all. And that's what you kind of saw in the game film last year. So again, hopefully it improves, but it's going to be kind of a long
hope.
Yeah, man. Like I said, when we kept trading back and there was other needs there, when I seen like Luther Burden and shit out there and the Raiders still had a chance, I don't know what the mindset was. I mean, I get it. Spytech likes offensive linemen. But check this out, bro. If you're going to trade down and take offensive linemen, are you at least going to give those offensive linemen, get them on the field to see what they got? Like, dude traded down for offensive linemen and didn't even want to play them. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I don't get it. If you thought they were so good to where you would trade down to acquire picks to get them, and you don't play them, on top of the guy that you took to trade down to get them, you don't want to play because he sucks. Like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, gang, this shit is a domino effect. We talked about this shit the other night. This shit is a fucking domino effect, bro. And I agree with 805 and Nutty Raider Nate said. I haven't been a big fan of John Spytek's drafts neither, bro. It's as much as I liked Ashton Genty as the player, I do agree with you don't take a running back that high, but still, I'm trying to roll with it, bro. I'm trying to give me a reason to not just be blah. Here we go. You feel me? Anyways, Nate, go ahead, bro.
I don't feel good at all about fucking Caleb Rogers. Pause. Caleb Rogers is terrible, bro. He those clips I sent you guys yesterday. That was just 2, bro. I watched a few more games and it was just a lot of fucking. He was. I mean that off. Hopefully, it's the offensive scheme, it's the coaching.
I accept your apology.
There's other elements to why our rookies didn't have a lot of success, but Caleb Rogers looked bad. His technique was bad. I saw him reaching a lot and leaning and
I told you that a couple of weeks ago.
Wolfing on the blocks. It's for them to say that he's actually competing for JPJ's job is fucking nutty to me.
Hilarious. It's comical.
What up, Hammer?
He's got some work to do. I don't know. I don't know if he gets any playing time this year. If JPJ stays healthy, I mean that's a big if. But
bro, you know what else sucks, guys, is like, so check this out. Like I'm all for getting Fernando. I get the situation. Like, but if y'all remember, bro, like I wasn't really a Fernando guy. I was like, fuck, bro, like he's not really, I'm that good in terms of being the number 1 overall pick and all the shit, bro. And I don't know, bro. I feel like the Raiders, bro, they're in a tough spot this year. And if we can turn anything out of this, bro, like I said, Spytech. I mean, look at his draft, bro. I mean, who do we got? Like, for real, we got Genty, but that some people say might be overdrafted or over. Yeah, but like, who else did he draft, bro? He didn't really draft shit, bro. Everybody else kind of ass. Am I wrong? Like, the rest of his draft picks are kind of ass, bro.
Kind of.
Huh?
Kind of ass. What else? What else came out of last year's draft?
Kind of ass, bro. I mean, he hasn't done shit. All these draft picks are mid as shit, bro.
Bro, all of them were terrible except for Genty, and he wasn't even that great. He wasn't as great as he could be, but that's all because you go out and you use a pick on a running back, but you don't address the true essence, which is your front line. So, and then when you do address it, you address it with BS. Like
Foresight. We brought in Foresight. We brought in Alex Kappa. Bro, it's
and brought in
a coach who wasn't even 100% focused on football.
Yeah,
going back and forth to USC to teach classes during the week, and then when you actually see footage of practice, you see these clear balls that people are getting in and running down the field in, or you asking them questions about the horse game that they shot around. Bro, I ain't seen no football being played.
Yeah, they was over.
I didn't see no football being played last year. I heard a lot of basketball, dunk contests, and 3-point contests, and who had the fastest time in the 40 and the bouncy ball. Like, but I ain't seen no football being played. I saw a lot of fun happening, a lot of BS, a lot of Circus Soleil. But I ain't seen no football.
I'm telling y'all right now, bro, if Fernando Mendoza don't work out, and you guys agree with, you guys can let me know how you guys feel, bro. If Fernando Mendoza don't work out and this Tom Brady this Fernando Mendoza, Clint Kubiak, and Tom Brady shit don't work out. Sorry, I'm drinking and I'm slurring. This shit ain't gonna work out for a long time. I really believe that, because the Raiders have gone all in on Tom Brady. We're going all in on Clint Kubiak, and we're going all in on number 1 pick, bro. When you keep resetting your coaches every year, it sets you back. Now you get the number 1 overall pick, which is the bottom of the bottom. If that shit don't work out, like, I don't know. I just feel like if it don't work with Tom Brady, it ain't gonna work with nobody, bro, because the NFL loves Tom, and that's their golden boy for football, after football. If it don't work with him, it ain't never gonna work. We might just forever be garbage.
I think that's where it's tough, because the Fernando Mendoza pick means, and if it doesn't work out, we're potentially 6 years away, maybe 7 years away from finding success if the next quarterback after him actually works out. Like, that's how long it's going to take.
Exactly. That's the point I'm
so,
trying to make.
Like, that's why for me it was I just wanted to be the right person. I know we needed a quarterback. Everybody said, well, we need a quarterback. Yes, we do. I don't disagree. But for me, just in my opinion, I wanted the right quarterback.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we needed a quarterback and we needed Jamarcus. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead. Sorry.
But that's at the end of the day, you know, I do hope that we can kind of put this thing in the right direction. But I have been very, very skeptical with Spytek's draft picks. Very skeptical. Going from, you know, even from Genty all the way through. It feels like the trend with Spytek is that he liked to draft guys that are developmental guys. It seems like the vast majority of them are all developmental guys. If you go to Jack Besh, to Darian Porter, if you go to like a Charles Grant, small school guy, right? Whether you like him or not, like it's still developmental because he's from a small school, you know. And then you go around to like
Jamar McCoy,
Tommy Malott, small school guy, doesn't even make Cam Miller, small school guy, doesn't even make the team. It's like it just feels like you're grabbing like guys that are just developmental pieces or rotational pieces. And when is it actually going to work out? Like this year, you have to see your picks work out. And then he follows it up with third rounders with a Trey Zune that might end up being a backup tackle. And then a Keon Crawford that's a backup edge rusher, maybe / outside linebacker. I'm an advocate that you want to try to find day one starters between rounds 1 and 3. Day one starters.
Same. I'm with you. Same.
Yeah, so you could develop through the draft. I think you can find instant success. You can buy your way to one season of success, maybe through free agency. You might be able to buy your way through that, but that's going to give you probably one season, maybe 2 at best. But the way you find consistent success is you build through the draft. And you find yourself consistent starters, and you build that way because then you can let those high-paying free agents go, knowing that you develop somebody through the process. And
that's on a low deal. Low deals are everything, bro. And that's why 805. That's the reason why, like, I don't want Fernando Mendoza on the bench for too long, bro. Like if Kirk Cousins don't work out, he's got to get out there because that contract is the reason why you draft a quarterback, bro, in the first round. The Raiders are in a position now where they have money, and we gotta if we waste too much time on Kirk Cousins, we got that little rookie deal just sitting in our pocket withering away on a low contract. So we'll see.
So we will see. We'll see how this thing works out, man.
All right, guys. You guys got anything else? Shit, we've been here for like 2.5 hours. 805. You got any shows coming up? You wanna tell the people about?
No, shout out to everybody, man. If you guys are going to be here for the training camp practices, open practice, I'm going to be going to most of the training camps in Henderson. I'll be going to open practice on the 11th, I believe, at Allegiant. So if y'all are going to be out there, man, let me know. Hit me up on IG. It's _805 Raider. But right now, I just go basically live on Wednesdays with my guy Severe as well as Chris, Protect the Show podcast. And then when the preseason starts, we'll bring back our Sundays. And we break down game film. We break down game film after every preseason game, after regular season game on Wednesdays, and just give you just a little bit deeper dive as to what our perspective is of the game, show some game film. And again, you can agree or not, but at the end of the day, you know, we do it live. So we get your feedback. We can go back and forth and have fun with it. So, yeah, that's about it, man.
No doubt for sure, man. And we appreciate 805 for pulling up. His link is in the chat. You guys can see right here. Nightbot's been posting all night. Make sure you guys are showing some love to him. Nutty Raider Nate or Dirty, you guys doing anything this week, like shows or anything you guys want to put the people on? Anything they should know about?
Hey, yeah, stay tuned. Something might pop up. Hold on to your horses.
I gotta actually. I'm going to shoot 3 commercials tomorrow, so be on the lookout for those. They'll be for the Raider Nation Golf Club tournament. So be on the lookout for those. We'll be shooting 3 commercials tomorrow at the golf course. So yeah. Other than that, I mean, I'll be back. Like I said, preseason week 1.
Yeah, we got a couple weeks.
Yeah.
All right, chat. Well, I appreciate everybody that came through tonight, man. Shout out to all the members, bro. We set the goal at 20 members. I donated 10 members tonight in the chat, man. That put us at 30 members. So we're currently at 30 members on the channel. If we hit 40 members by the end of August, that's 2 NFL jerseys of your choice for a giveaway, man. So we're 10 members away from that. Join the membership program right now. We got membership deals, 99 cents till the end of August, man. Join in. Membership only content. Tomorrow we're going to test the call-ins. I did a call-in show a few years ago. Kind of took a break from that because I was kind of going through my own shit, so I had to take a break from YouTube. But I'm working on my call-ins again. We're going to do the call-in show. Members are going to have their first crack at that call-in show tomorrow. So I'm going to do a call-in show, Google Voice call-in show tomorrow night around 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So all the members of the channel, jump into that stream. I'll see you guys. And like I said, man, we hit the goal. The goal was 20 members. So we were giving away a jersey for sure. In September, 1 jersey is given away. If we can hit 10 more members by the end of August, that's 2 jerseys. So much love, Raider Nation. 805, I appreciate you, brother. You feel me? You can do great content over there, man. Continue to support my brother, as I posted his link several times throughout the chat, man. We appreciate any time that he's given us, as much as we appreciate all your guys' time. So for 805, for Dirty Raider, for Nutty Raider Nate, for Raider Ben, this has been the Just Win Baby podcast here on the Silver and Black Lounge. And until next time, man, you guys know what time it is, man. Go Raiders, everybody. You guys have a great night.
I'm all right now.
I'm all right now.
They didn't have to say much. This is the Raiders. You know, this is one of the most historic, franchises in the NFL, with a great history that I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of furthering that history. When you say commitment to excellence, okay, and you look at the walls around here, you look at the players on this wall, and there's a history. There's a history of Hall of Fame players here. There's a history of Super Bowls, and that's.
And with all this situation and all this shit I went through, the biggest thing that I took from it is I don't give a what everybody has to say. Truly, I really don't give a.
Play clock down to 1. Williams batted up in the air, and it is picked. Crosby. He has been a beast.
I do believe that this is a game psychologically of intimidation and of fear. I don't mean cowardly fear, but fear.
But the Chargers and all those teams. To be honest, I don't like any of them. I hate all teams.
The other team's quarterback must go down, and he must go down hard.
But the Chargers.
What I call the vertical game. We were going to stretch the field vertically. When we came out of the huddle, we weren't looking for first downs. We didn't want to move the chains. We wanted touchdowns. We wanted the big play, the quick strike. It's number 1 to say you want to do that. It's number 2 to say that you have the players to do it, but it's number 3 to do it. Hard. Try not to make mistakes, but don't worry about mistakes, because there's only one thing that counts. Just win.
Your commitment to excellence and your will to win will endure forever. You will not give.